chosen hunter, beast of slaughter. They will learn my name once more.
When I step inside of the room, then you know I gotta shake it up. You know I never can settle. I gotta do it, make it boom anytime when I set it up. They doubted me for way too long, gotta prove them wrong. Yeah, they knock me down, but I'm coming back strong. I feel alive, yeah, I'm back from the dead. I'm back from the dead. I'm back from the dead. Back from the dead. I feel alive, yeah, I'm back from the dead.
Welcome back to the ALGS. For those of you who joined us in EMEA, welcome. I know you've had a great day of Apex already and want to continue. For those starting your Friday evening and saying, wow, we got some Apex on, that's unusual. Yes, it is. And our new schedule not only allows us to treat you to this as you're maybe ending the work week and heading into the weekend, but also treats you to 3 match days each weekend. So nonstop Apex action coming at you. My name's Randy. I'm joined by Vicky and Brav. We'll have Jayhawk joining us in just a moment on the analyst crew. But guys, it's going to be a fun one. Vicky, as we look at America's A versus B and the standings here, brain rotting at the top. Maybe not a team that we would have expected to be here, but they have certainly earned their spot.
Absolutely. Coming back into the mix from Paris rain dates and now seeing how a lot of our pros are kind of coming around from seeing how that playoffs went down and trying to perform consistently. Brain rotting is definitely going to be one of those teams to watch as we go down for today's games.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, Paris was kind of a litmus test for where we stood, but it's also our midseason playoffs for a reason. We have split 2 playoffs coming up in Vegas, which you guys definitely want to be a part of on Halloween weekend. But Mr. Rosie here, Brav, kind of diving deeper into what it meant for brain rotting to take it. We know Crooked Enemy, what they've done in the past, hundreds of thousands of winnings together and coming off this team, but Mr. Rosie fitting like a glove into this roster.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing to see both a first and then of course another top 5 as well after that. And I love the kind of the stance here, the humility, saying, oh, I owe everything to Enemy and Crook, kind of bringing me in. And we know that taking a chance on a player for a pro league spot is a big deal, right? And has it ever paid off for them? For them to not only be in the lead, but keep in mind, they have a 4-point lead in a region that is separated by just a point or 2 here and there. We have about 4 ties right now in the region as you go down the table. So it's a pretty great start for these guys.
Big point, too, that we haven't mentioned and we haven't even talked about in rehearsal, but roster lock coming up next week. And it's crazy because it's mid-split, but we have 6 match days that will have happened in 2 weeks. So also keep an eye on that. Mr. Rosie probably saying, hey, this is working. Let's keep this going. Let's not switch it out. I believe in that as well. First place in Americas with 40 points. Vicky, I mean, this team obviously continuing to be at the top. A team right below them in All Gamers Global. Kind of a very similar story to success early, but can they continue going? Of course, our Mexican trio here representing the Chinese Esports World Cup Club champions. There's a lot of pressure for them.
Yeah, it really was. And just looking at how the Tres Amigos were able to come together, I'm always getting a sense of deja vu that I'm hoping it's not just AG Global's curse or, you know what, this trio's curse in general, where we see them have these pop-off moments and then slowly decline until they inch out their way into safety. So I want to continuously see this consistency from a team that has been playing for a very long time, which is a big highlight when you have teams still trying to figure things out when we've already played, like, what, in that first weekend alone, 33% of the game going down within the split.
Let me ask you this question too. I mean, is it enough for them to say we did our job to take home 100K in Paris, to get 6th place? I mean, we don't talk about them lifting the trophy, but is that just because we have a high standard and knowing how good they are?
I feel like Academy Bravo, the way that they could just come out from that momentum and just kind of ring around the rosy within the split 2, just as a really strong start, is the best way to go for this team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so we'll keep in mind as well, I think tied for most kills on match day 2 with 15, so I think really starting to not only show that they can be 2nd place in the split right now, but that they're also popping off on big days as well.
All right, well, speaking of North America, HUSS, a team formerly ZI Esports, 4th place at EWC when we saw our Split 1 playoffs and these players clash on LAN. They really found their rhythm, and the young Canadian star who's trying to figure out if he's even going to college or where he's going to college based on his career, Jelly, has been phenomenal, bro.
Yeah, I just love the way that these guys play the game. I think also anyone who's keep in mind, these guys have been around the block for a while. A lot of people have spent time in both Deeds comms, Dupe comms, different teams, now this one team. I think they think about the game the same way. Of course, keep in mind after that 2nd place, jumping 10 spots in the table. So right now, if you talk about momentum, HUSS certainly has it.
I mean, you know, Vicky, this is a really good team. I feel like Duplex just sets a great foundation for anybody he's playing with.
Yeah, HUSS is hustling, man. That's Dupe for a reason. And I think just overall, this entire team has such great vibes. And I feel like the theme that we've been talking about, even looking at our last other 2 teams, has just kind of been the theme of these young gun legends making their way and showing off that they could be the face of the next generation of Pro Apex.
Deeds and Jelly kind of rocking a similar hairstyle as well, so I like the synergy on all levels. Let's bring in Jayhawk for some deeper analysis than that. I know I gave it pretty surface level there, because I want to talk about a team that has been really commanding a lot of attention, not only with their lack of performance or lack of attendance at our Split 1 playoffs, which you mentioned so many of these storylines from, but also their new roster in Crazy Thieves.
Yeah, guys, this roster, obviously one of the biggest storylines of last split, not able to make it to Paris, despite the fact that the Americas region sent 13 teams. That's a pretty big disappointment. And I know the people behind the org were explaining it as a complete failure, because when this roster was put together, 3 former champions, you'd expect that there'd be a lot better in terms of performance. And so I think that the big thing that I was pointing out a lot last split was that the thing they lacked was a true fragger. We saw Verhulst, we saw Jen Burton, we've seen Phony over the course of their careers. At the peak of their powers, we're playing with some of the best fraggers in the world, and so they didn't really have a true one. Well, they make a roster change coming into this split, and they pick up one of the best you possibly can get in the entire world, and that's going to be the prodigy himself, Koiful. This is a little bit of an unfair comparison we do see on our screen. I want to preface that last split, Verhulst was playing Anchor. He was playing Watson, Catalyst, Newcastle. These are characters that aren't going to lead to him getting a ton of kills, but just to show how dominant Koiful has been since joining Thieves, all of last split, Verhulst had a total of 26 kills, and Koiful has 30 through 2 match days. I mean, he has been incredible, guys, just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, this is another conversation that leans towards, to me, identity in your roster. You know, Verhulst's playing a different role than Koiful, but in some ways, because Koiful's role is so clear, Vicky, it opens up the ability for the rest of, you know, Jen Burton and Phony to do what they do best.
Yeah, just the fact that you have this team already feeling a lot more confident, you know, and you take a look at Jen Burton's tweet, 2nd place for the first day of Pro League, which is huge, with the last game on a 20 bomb to end the day. Like, this is what you like to see from a team like this. When it comes to 20 kills out of 60 in the lobby, that is literally 33% of the lobby. They got rid of 1/3 of the lobby just so that way they could round off their day. And if they're going to keep this up, guys, they are in prime position.
I mean, you know, Jayhawk, I'll kind of throw it back to you as well, talking about what they did. Was it the aggressiveness? Was it the inclusion of Bloodhound when not as many teams in North America were picking it up? What do you think was the difference maker here in these first few match days?
I think that Koiful just makes all of the roles work because he can be so aggressive, because he has experience playing the Alters, the Wraiths, the Axles, these kind of characters. It puts Phony and Jen Burton back on their best roles. When Jen is playing Anchor, I think he's one of the best anchors in the entire world, if not the best anchor in the entire world. And the way that he's able to frag despite playing those characters, he's incredible at it. But also for Phony, last split, his IGLing, I think, suffered having to also be the fragger. Now he gets to go back, play the Crypto, the Seer, the Bloodhound, take in all the information and make the right calls. I think that everybody is just at the peak of their powers because of the characters they can now play, because everything is just working.
Rob, are you buying Crazy Thieves, or are you still a bit reserved with where you're putting your expectations to split?
I'm buying it. I think it's also a big deal. If you think about the kind of the vibes on that team, you think about kind of what Phony and crew had to do last split. They were, because of the substitute situation, they were chasing the entire split. So to now be tied for 5th, I think it's just a massive deal for them because they can take a breath. And I think not only do you have everything clicking on this team, but on top of that, they can take a breath, realize not only they won't be chasing the entire split. There's even more spots available, and they're tied for 5th. So I think they can, take a moment to realize, okay, we're sitting pretty here. We found the right chemistry on the team. We found the right roles. We found the right legend. You just saw, by the way, that was not just Bloodhound, that was actual Bloodhound. So they're getting ready to move and schmoove around the map, and I'm taking it. I'm believing it.
I love it as well. Mentioned the Axel nerfs a little bit earlier, Jelly, and feeling a little upset about that. But Crazy Thieves seem to be soaring through those changes. We'll see how they adapt.
Absolutely. And guys, I don't know if this is a little bit of a hot take, but I said this on my stream last weekend. If I had to pick one team that I think might win this Pro League split, I think my money right now is on Thieves.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. That's saying
That's
a
how
lot.
much I'm buying in.
That's saying a lot. Weren't even at land. Now betting they take split 2 heading into it. This change maybe did enough, guys. Let's narrow in on Group A versus B. I know that actually we're about to get into it, so I'll let you guys take the wheel from now. Let's jump into it, guys. Let's kick it off. It's going to be Vicky and Bravo to begin the action.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Bravo, let's get it and run it back because we're seeing this group play off against each other once again, but it's a little bit of a different map rotation here, which could influence a lot, as we were talking about before we got started with the show.
Yeah, truly. And also, I want to mention here, then there was a little bit of this in EMEA, but it's even stronger in the Americas. All top 8 spots right now are A versus B. So essentially, every team in this entire lobby has one of the top 8 spots, and you're going to see certainly a few start to break away. I mean, it's worth mentioning, keep in mind, the points go essentially from 30 all the way down to 21. There's about, you could argue, 5th to 15th in that point range. Today is going to be a very pivotal match day for A versus B.
That's just crazy to see how the competition has been riled up here in America's very high octane action as we now start off our day on World's Edge for our first 3 games before we make that transition onto Storm Point.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we saw earlier today, just a lot of legend variety. I think it's also really important to mention in terms of legend bans, we saw no altar ban earlier, and we should mention that the last time we saw these 2 maps in the Americas, it was also a game 4 altar ban. So we could still see a lot of altar chaos in this lobby as well.
Alter Chaos is definitely one way to put it as we see where our teams are dropping. I mean, I'm just still scratching my head. The fact that we had no Alter ban in EMEA earlier is just crazy. Now with Americas, though, I think it's going to be a little different here. We're going to have to see if it ends up being a lot later in the series, or can it be from the start here as we get to see where everybody is, Bob.
Yeah, my big thing here is that you got Buckle Boys and Free Thinkers, by the way, tied at 29th in the split at Fragment and Monument. And all I want to ask is what could go wrong? What could go wrong with those 2?
I can't. Battle of the bottom, I guess, between what's going on here. But you know what? You had one team, picking it in 8th, and then you had the other team going ahead with Free Thinkers picking it in 36. So you know what? Free Thinkers, they're trying to think ahead. I don't know what they're cooking here. Don't know if the food is burnt, but it's going to be scary depending on where these zones are going to be pulling to.
Yeah, it certainly is. We should talk about a little bit more priority as well. It's worth mentioning that we will see Geekay in sorting. They picked that 2nd. It should mention, I think that went like 17th in EMEA, so pretty different kind of choices. That the same can be also said about Tree. It went 10th for DINOS, and it went very late in EMEA. So it's interesting to not only see the comp variety, Vicky, between the regions, but even when it comes to POI draft, just really different preferences when it comes to comfort picks and just like places that people want to be able to play from on World's Edge.
Yeah, probably hand in hand with them trying to either play Edge or for Zone, and seeing how a lot of the changes of the game has influenced the playstyle of these teams, whether it elevates them and they get to play a lot more to their comfort, has allowed them to get influence on how they're going to be able to draft their POIs.
Yeah, and unlike, we've talked about Sky West, it went 14th so late in EMEA, and instead it's Darkspire picking it 4th here. So things a little bit back to normal. It made me kind of realize, okay, maybe everything isn't going crazy. We're still seeing some early Sky West picks coming in from Darkspire, and it's also, of course, worth mentioning what we saw from Floating. When we go back to Geekay at sorting, let's not forget 21 kills on match day 3, just absolutely popping off.
What are they feeding the young bloods for real, though? Like, this is actually crazy. It's kind of another one of the stories that we've mentioned with Floating making a crazy run in the open, seeing that tier 2 talent really rise up, where you wonder what other secret bosses are lying in wait. And Floating has performed time and time again, from scrims to even actual Pro League days. The consistency is there, and that's definitely a good call out too, Bravo, because coming out of sorting, they can replicate what we've just saw the other week.
Exactly, yeah. They'll have a lot of options and a lot of, obviously, the ability to make some quick moves as well. And talk about, once again, with Shopify, not only do they need a big day, they are in 20th right now. And you talk about a team that had to chase all of last split, that certainly was the case in split 1, and they placed 10th and 16th so far. And really, I know Jay's been talking a lot about how their comps have been. I think there's still a few things to figure out, but the one thing we know for sure, Vicky, is they need a big day today.
They do, but we're rocking with the same map rotation that they struggled with when we saw day 2 of A versus C. And now seeing how they could try to come back, it could be difficult because sure, I mean, they weren't really able to not only get the KP, but just the fact that they were lacking in placement. I believe they were like the second team to go out within that group just in game number 1. So coming back a lot harder after having very little time to reconvene is going to be important, because time is of the essence in our speed run of a split.
It really is. There's not a lot of time to figure it out, and we should talk about it in the Americas. It was crazy to see. Just for example, I think stream titles were not playing first block, double block after. These teams, some teams running. I think Sweet's title, of course, just a few days ago, is triple block scrims. Just watching 18 games straight, because these teams know there's not that much time on these map rotations in these groups, and they're trying to make up for lost time. I'm on the West Coast, and I'm coming sometimes back home after I've already watched a block. I've gone out for dinner, I've come back, and they are still in block 3, and it's like 11 p.m. on the West Coast, and I'm like, these teams are putting in the hours. They are putting in the time to make sure that they can get as many points as they need on the board, because before you know it, Vegas is going to be here, and even earlier than that, the cutoff for Vegas will come and hit some of these teams like a wall.
And that is exactly why this region has 15 teams that will advance to Split 2 playoffs in Vegas, because they put in so much of that hard work and time, especially when it comes to scrims and the way that scrims have played out. Sure, I always take scrims with a grain of salt, but it's just a great detail to how back-to-back and how hard a lot of these teams have to go with the limited time that they currently have.
Yeah, it's true. And I think another team we could talk about, look at that far left, by the way, under the new banner. It's Forged Wolves, it's Dig, Dark, and Caden. Should mention a really good scrim just yesterday, a solid second place scrim, and 4 separate top 4 placings. They've placed 4th and they've placed 7th. Of course, these guys are no strangers to finding success in big games, but the fact that Forge Wolves is kind of quietly going about their business right now in 8th, I think hasn't been discussed enough, and I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on them as well today at Lava Fisher.
Wrapping up from this, everybody, let's get this started. Game number 1 on World's Edge for our Americas region is now starting. And as you mentioned too, Forge Wolf, definitely a great story to see how they're able to come back from their performance in their last Pro League day. But now taking a look at the team that you were talking about before, ShopifyRebellion, a team that really needs to start ramping up, because we know the talent that this team has individually. Saucer, kind of going into form, especially after having a great qualifier with an ENC.
Absolutely, and the question on Sauce is really, how does, as it always is, on a Zainu roster, it's how does everything gel, and really how defiant is Sauce as we take a look immediately. I tell you what, these skyhook zones, they're coming in thick and fast, and we were not kidding in EMEA. Things are heading up north quite a lot. We're going to be heading there yet again.
Ooh, all right, taking a trip all the way to Skyhook Unreal Nightmare. We'll definitely not see this as a nightmare, more like a dream too, because they know that they're sharing this together over by the Skyhook eastern side with Team Darkspire. Crazy Thieves, though, on a quick rotation, leaving out of Countdown and immediately finding themselves in the Skyhook zone. But we know that this is going to be a zone where we're going to have a lot of teams coexisting with one another into that late, though.
Certainly, as you said, CRT with that console. By the way, important to mention, Epi, Warcamp, and East Village, Liquid, as well as not only, of course, Liquid and HUSS both together, all of them having, and even Sesame Oil is going to have their own console with another console on the way. Tons of consoles up north. So anyone who's making these rotates, you're actually going to have probably a few mid-speed teams, like, for example, if you think about Sentinels, etc., that have not been able to hit one just yet. So you're going to see a lot of kind of mid-speed getting second and third ring info here.
You get a console. You get a console. Okay, Oprah, we take those on our rotates, especially when it comes to side questing. Again, benefiting those teams that do like to take it slow and play on the edge of zone. Team Liquid already taking up to the skies with an evac tower, already getting a scan over by camp. But then a lot of other teams here starting to make their rotate through these chokes. Free Thinkers being one of them, trailing right behind Shopify Rebellion. And it's important to note too, Bravo, that we have a tie for our legends in this first game between Crypto and Alter.
Ooh, yes, indeed. And also a nice, tidy lobby from the Americas, by the way. There's only 2 comps being run. There are 12 Alter Cat Cryptos, and there are going to be 8 Alter Crypto Seer. Everything nice and tidy in the Americas as we like it.
Back to normal. Our very normal show here, as we see Free Thinkers team that you were talking about very early on, trying to coexist between the Monument side. Before now moving forward, it's going to be Negative, who is on the Altar. Talk about all the Altars here together with the Crypto is very lethal, but it's even more important to highlight why we see the Controller Legend being the catalyst when it comes to trying to deal with the matchup of the Crypto.
Certainly, we should talk about that, of course. Right now, 12 teams opting for the Cat, as we mentioned. 8 of them opting for the Seer in this scenario. So, I mean, we talked about just how valuable Cat is going to be in these Seer lobbies, and it's really quite a decision to make. There's a fork in the road for these teams, and the Americas, have really embraced it in terms of needing to decide which one you want to go for. So far, it's leaning just a little bit, 60% for the Cat in the lobby.
We talk about Mr. Rosie and that amazing tweet too. Finding your faith and finding that synergy with your teammates feels so good here. And Brain Rotting wanting to replicate their performance just after our first match day for them in this similar group. I mean, double-digit KP for them in that game 1 and in that game 5, but not stop fighting as the enemy now kind of stuck in the middle, having to back away, getting information together with Crook being on that Crypto.
Yeah, by the way, this is Brain Rotting and Vision. Of course, Brain Rotting is your Stacks team, the #1 ranked, and Vision here is your launch site team. So interestingly, it's not always the case. Storm, who is actually the Dome team, they just yeeted themselves out of there. They're already a big maw, and instead it's going to be, you don't always expect it. Instead, it's just going to be here now, Brain Rotting and Team Vision fighting way back down south.
Dude, Storm both did. They were out of there. Their priority is being inside that ring, but you know what? They'll also have that ring console and server beacon on their way, whereas Brain Rotting also calling it quits. Do not want to take this late fight here versus Team Vision. The ring closing in right behind their backs. They're trying to take the skies to see if they try to get away from them. But a team, though, showing face in front of the rest of this lobby is going to be Team Liquid, approaching the team that's up on the high ground, and they do have the reset, too, with that Nexus just in case.
Yeah, really nicely done. As we said, Liquid's going to be your war camp team, so they did have the console, and it was a very, very straightforward and probably expected rotate to now be at station, and also expected, of course, for them to be on the Seer. This is a team that wants to be able to be guns up, flying at your face, and right now, of course, their back is very, very clear, and they're going to hope that things continue to pull north towards them here.
Still 20 squads left, peppering in some damage here to boost up these Evos, too. Zero's just going to be patiently waiting by, but this is kind of goes hand in hand with what we're mentioning, right, Bravo? When you see a zone like this pulling over by Skyhook, you could expect it to be a very slow type of zone where a lot of these teams will opt to coexist with one another.
Yeah, and there's so much space. I mean, we should kind of contrast it to what we saw earlier. There were so many mid-speed teams, for example, in EMEA on that launch zone because no one really wanted to tuck in and try to fight over that space, whereas, like you say, in Skyhook, so many buildings that you can hold, even, of course, coexisting on multiple levels, and everyone's trying to get in as fast as they can. As we take a look at Geekay, just kind of taking their time here all the way up in Trials. It's worth mentioning there are two teams. DINOS is at Lava Fisher, as well as Headglytch about to balloon outside Countdown, so they're not alone on this side of the map.
Very good call out. Dino's probably trying to opt to go from the back end of Lava Fisher and could rotate from behind GK too, because they had the survey beacon, but it doesn't look like they had a ring console unless they went through the staging or big mod side. So now with Dinos just peeking on to see if they can try to play on the outskirts of the zone. Other teams though flying in for a desperate attempt on finding some real estate. But in this economy, good luck with that. The EMP is sending out the eviction notice, and January is running for their lives. Unfortunately though, it's August, so now January is going to have to just stay alive as a solo. Hopefully Headglytch could reset as a full 3-man, but it's hard when everybody in this lobby is running crypto and you lost out on your own crypto teammate.
Yeah, just going to have to hold on to this, as you say, just have to hold on to this truck. You'd almost want any other legend, of course, aside from the Seer alive in this scenario, so January is just going to have to throw the hands up, see what kind of scans he gets, and just try to stay alive at Countdown. But keep in mind, Dinos is still behind him at Countdown. Nowhere's going to be safe. This is going to be very difficult. He has to go way wide towards zone at Fisher, but the pressure's coming.
And everybody's looking at him. This is always one of those worst moments too, as the solo January is trying to stay alive. GK right around them both from the back end, while Dinos is still looking at that solo.
And should mention here, this is a pretty, by the way, GK, yeah, as you say, is in pursuit. And January is just going to have to keep running, trying to get as much info with a quick hands up, and that will be it. Headglytch eliminated, and it's even though Headglytch is in 19th, it's worth mentioning they got 4th place last match day, so it's a team that wants to try to continue off the momentum of that match day for sure.
Great call out here too, and of course the worst person to try to run away from is floating there, and DINOS even just let it happen. See that one member of GK picked that up, but that goes away from DINOS. As you can see, everybody in this lobby except for GK, technically they're gonna hold the high ground for as long as they could. DINOS, Vision, BRAINROTTING, and HUSS are the only squads outside of the zone. Everybody is congested, one on top of the other. I'm seeing altar TPs everywhere. I'm seeing fireworks of crypto drones getting all the information that they can from all the coexisting teams.
It is wild just how much playable space you have here, and it depends right now. You can ask yourself as an Apex fan if you believe in repeat zones. The answer, if you watch Tamiya, is probably yes, as this one is pretty much picture perfect only over Skyhook. Though it was an easy zone call, it is once again straight over essentially the center, with the cake building in the center of the zone. So as you say, a lot of place to play, and we'll take a look at exactly what's going on here with AG Global as well as GK.
Gonna get aggressive, and since, you know, everybody's on the altar, you know that the repositioning opportunities are gonna be there, the reset opportunities on top of it, and the kidnappings that you have to look out for. DINOS, with some information, had put down the exhibit, but guess what? GK are not within the exhibit, so they're not getting that same set of information that they would like to, as TJ's looking to see if he can make a play to get onto the high ground.
Let's not forget, of course,
EMP?
GK also is going to be on the cat, so it's an interesting battle between these two, and it looks like they're thinking, of course, about maybe, of course, looking for the Seer Alter synergy to maybe just someone pull down, but also going to have the option to queue out if they want. GK still holding height.
Look at the way that the spikes are also positioned. The one difference maker, because DINOS not having that catalyst, the EMP we're expecting here, they're going to get scanned. But one thing, too, is that at least GJ does have the insurance policy of this Void Nexus. So they will be able to back away. They don't like the situation. They could get reset here, and then they could then just re-engage, because this is very isolated. The only team I am worried about in like the next 30 seconds will be Team Vision, probably showing face into that fight. And they won't be alone, as now you could also now see White Jelly moving up through the tracks.
Yeah, I agree. I think as soon as DINOS was going to try to make that move, I think you and I were thinking the same thing when they were coming up from Fisher. What are you thinking about challenging Trials height with? Because that is just simply going to be difficult, but now EMP does come in. We take a look at HUSS just trying to also respond with a Seer Q and some nades and see if they can make up some more space here as well.
This is going to be versus BRAINROTTING up for the control over to the north side of the track. But J Future, this is going back to our previous fight as DINOS get eliminated. As you already mentioned here, Brav, it's hard, but Team Vision, right on cue, as we had mentioned, wanted to show face. They popped in, though, a second too late. The fight is done, and the fight has not stopped, though, on the other side of this zone between BRAINROTTING and HUSS, over by the tracks by Skyhook East.
Pretty ISO, and guess what? There's someone checking it out. It's a solo Sentinels member who was interested in, and I think we can all guess who that might be, but HUSS is actually going to TP out. As you just saw, they're going to TP back down to tracks to buy some time, because they knew that there was maybe a Sentinels third party coming in, and HUSS did not want to be part of that. Now they can just decide exactly how they want to come in. Maybe choke, maybe drill tower. They can now take their time, though.
Get some information while they're at it, too, before wrapping around, calling it quits, and trying to rotate in from that side of zone, because they're trying to see if this zone is going to pull even more slightly over to the western side of Skyhook. Looking at everybody being on the south side, on the outskirts of this next zone pull, though, is going to be a bloodbath once a lot of these teams find out. Because remember, when they situate themselves very early in these buildings, it means that they deny themselves the information that they could get from later ring console scans. As we take a look at Team Liquid, let's jump into a listen with Team Liquid as they plan their next move in the next 27 seconds.
Yeah,
pretty sure you're ready from you.
Evac. There's two guys on the roof of 5 stack right now.
Let's go that way.
Evac top Trials.
You fuck us.
They're taking World Balloon and gas. You can see. Evac from Trials flying towards us.
They're landing bridge. You can kind of see it.
Tunnel team is going far side, like towards Grandma's. Look at them.
Yeah.
They're gonna EMP. This guy's alone in the, yeah, he's alone in the diner right now. The crypto is?
One of them is.
Run away! Yeah, his teammates are looking for kills. He might not have
I think it's false, guys. No, EP.
Okay.
Bro, you should have gone top. It's too late now. Go back. Just run across the bridge, man. You were so good.
They're looking at you guys double. They make you take the B.
I'm gonna kill back.
Fine. The Grandma's team is evacuating right now. They're landing far side over here. They're getting impeded on landing.
Very doable here when it comes to Team Liquid and where they're positioned. There's not much they could do, right? Because they're trying to make sure that their backs are clear, just looking at the way this ring is going to pull, and it's going to benefit them in the long way. Then it's brain rotting, though. It's not going to be beneficial as the MP is going to come out, but at least they're going to be able to pop in the shield back from Crook. But it's a very defensive here, just so that way they could try to get very aggressive while still getting the res at the same time.
Absolutely. There's just so much space here for them, as you say. And right now, the only threat is going to be Sentinels. That's just a little bit to the southeast. But I know Jayhawk had some opportunity to hear a little bit from them. We'll see if we can get him in here. But right now, it's Liquid just with absolutely clear vision. And here we go, Jay. What are you hearing?
Yeah, guys, listen, for Liquid, they actually have a little bit of a character swap from last week. In games 1 of both of their match days, they finished in 19th and 18th, so off to very slow starts. We had Zero playing Alter, we had Panic playing Seer, but now those two have swapped roles, and I think it's just an idea is we need to get Panic a little bit more activated, and luckily they have the zone pulling straight to them, so maybe he can get some late game kills.
I love this information too, just being able to hear Jayhawk like just talk about the breakdown of what Team Liquid is going for, especially in trying to enable Panic. But now we're looking at Geekay trying to stay alive because floating, he's fallen and unfortunately getting knocked. Knocked is going to be able to put up the catwalk here, trying to reset with the bat because Team Vision are out for blood.
That's right, not just one, but two teams here. Unreal Nightmare also part of this. Keep in mind, Unreal Nightmare is your original Sky East team. They were here before anyone, before this all got into an absolute bloodbath. And they mess, and it's the Prowler of Carter, which does a whole bunch of damage. GK will go down.
Roller Prowler is just a different raid boss, actually. It's crazy. Why Jelly being another one? Coming into the fray, back to back, though, finishing off the knocked heads that they find on the floor. 15 squads left, and it's going right according to plan that we were expecting, Bravo, when it came to a lot of these teams forced outside their building to go into that next zone.
Yeah, earlier today in EMEA, of course, we saw the likes of Alliance and D4C having to go just a little bit southwest of Bar and Red. This time it's actually pulling and kind of splitting right between Bar and actually on the train station. So not much playable space aside from the tracks themselves if we talk about this next zone and where teams need to get.
It's great when Team Liquid are also hugging that sniper arsenal that we saw when we were listening to their own comms. They're actually taking some KP away from the teams that are fighting right before their eyes. Crazy Thieves now hiding with their backs right against the ring, are looking for this rotate here. They take the TP right outside the wall just so that way they could close in the gap, and now are coexisting with what, 3-4 other teams here in the middle console.
CRT, as you say, is just a team that on cake building, so much action. Now it's worth noting there's not that many cat teams left in this game right now, but of course Jen on the cat's going to give them just a little bit more options in terms of how they might want to move around this end game.
I would love to hear what was going on here because Saucer gets knocked. The contest as they try to board right upwards, though, together with the Void Passage, and Zap clutches out Sesame Oil. Do get eliminated. Nice way of holding two different split angles and splitting their attention and trying to contest and get aggressive to take over the high ground.
Important battle, as you said, and that's going to now see them, as we see, into the top 7. Now, as we get a look, actually, of where we are headed, of course, in between those two buildings, and it's a really nice assist that comes in here for Panic and Zero together. That will take down Duke. However, it's just Panic now for Team Liquid.
Deadly indeed, get the knock back to back here. Oh, Panic, he's panicking because he's sent back to the lobby. Oh, that was so unfortunate. No door holding here as Team Liquid are eliminated.
That is the definition of getting caught with your pants down. The door gets blown off as you're trying to pop the bat. It was not going to happen here, and now we get to look actually at CRT finally, as we said from earlier, just getting outside of cake building, and Koi's thinking about which kind of cues he might want to create and take, but right away finds himself in some cat spikes. They got to slow it down here.
Going from one Void Passage to the next, I mean, you're just literally looking at everybody going side by side. They do get the res at the very least, but it's so crazy to see how HUSS was able to evict Team Liquid and take such a great position into where this next zone pool is. Koiful looking back up, but he has to still heal up. He's got 2 medkits in the bag, but with the cat wall right in front of them, there's no space to really play. The EMP now rings out just defensively, so they have some time to breathe as Shopify do get eliminated.
Shopify down as well, as you mentioned. HUSS evicting Team Liquid. I can't imagine what the post-game comms sound like there, as of course we all thought they were gifted certainly beyond the top 5. Instead now, as you said, CRT, one of the 2 cat teams in this lobby, who's going to now make the push.
Oh no, getting the knock though. The trade-off too. W Press do get eliminated. 4 squads left, and Crazy Thieves are trying to keep the dream alive between Koi and Phony. Can they bring Gen as Team Vision? Carter, he's got the Kraber in, and I've seen this before, looking down at the barrel at where HUSS is going to have to exit from.
This is one of my favorite movies indeed. We already saw what he could do with the Prowler, but whoa, big damage coming in from low means he has to be very, very careful and to reset. Zach just getting eyes on exactly what everything looks at there. And like we said, HUSS actually drops, by the way, off of the high ground right onto CRT.
Oh, but they just fully send this. And Team Vision and Forge Wolves are just looking at this fight play out because they got the cat walls that you were mentioning, the limited cats that we still have in this lobby. 2 left here alone, and HUSS not being one of them. Dupe is shooting blindly through the cat wall. Can he hit them? No. But Crazy Thieves, they do get eliminated. Jelly backing him up, looking to get the reset off the TP.
It's a big play from HUSS. They're going to TP right back. Huge from HUSS. They come off the high ground. They triple send to the low ground, and they all take the Nexus now back to station. Really nicely done from HUSS.
They got away with that. That's insane. Talk about coming through as now Vision. I'm gonna be careful. You see the EMP playing side by side in this building is gonna be Forge Wolves and Team Vision as our last 3 squads, and HUSS now moving out of that train building are looking to try to counter rotate where Team Vision has already preemptively set up their Void Nexus.
They're really nicely done from HUSS. Once again, they leave the height and they are now commanding as much space as they can. Carter's still gonna have this high ground and kind of the heady that the tracks allow with the Kraber, but you do not have a lot of room to get in those peaks.
Come out wherever you are. You know Carter's gonna look for it, trying to put their heads on a spike as Vision now move up, trying to avoid taking this fight with Forge Wolf. This is beautiful because not only do you have that TP ready to go, now you won't really have to find yourselves in that collapse fight that you could expect from those 2 teams. Now HUSS are gonna have to look down at Team Vision, who have that slight high ground before they have to move forward.
Oh, Carter wants it, does not connect there. By the way, all 3 players have now TP'd up here to tracks. Vision has decided to take the height, and it's Forge Wolves just playing in bar, and HUSS down here on your screen in the low ground.
It's the Triforce here between Forge Wolf now looking at HUSS. They flipped the script. Vision now dropped down from the tracks. Exhibit for exhibit. It's looking like Epcot, but with the Venn diagram, it's not enough info with the catwall to their right. Deeds being the last one alive for HUSS. He gets 1 knock. He gets the crack, but he can't get the clutch. And this is all for Team Vision to feast on as they are your Game 1 winners.
So beautifully done by Team Vision. I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to come down to the tracks, but the question is how, and HUSS just didn't have the angle to take tracks away from Vision, and Vision is able to split hold the tracks height so well in the end. Even though the Kraber was not the difference maker per se, the threat of the Kraber as well as the teamwork from Zach, Loader, and Carter is going to get them a Game 1 win.
I mean, not only that, they got the 3 KP, but it's really important to highlight getting those placement points and playing for the win, because otherwise, if they would have stayed in that building, they were not going to win that game. So that was a very good call as Carter had kind of cleared out that space, still maintained high ground because he's the altar, and was able to set up that Void Nexus to allow the rest of Team Vision to have the advantage as the zone closed in.
I also love the way they did it. They even split held for a while. They actually kept people right against Forge Wolves. They didn't all TP to tracks immediately to kind of all be sitting ducks on tracks, as they're going to rack up, as you said, just 15 points total. So not an insane pop-off game, but still a very important win, both in terms of points as well as momentum. But specifically, they were able to split hold bar building and tracks all the way essentially up until the final moments. And it was pretty fortunate for them, by the way, that Forge Wolves was on the cat. That cat essentially forces those two, that wall, forces those 2 teams to fight, HUSS and Forge Wolves. And like you said, Vision just comes in and they clean up the scraps.
And this also means that Alter will be our first Legend ban, kind of following in suit with what we saw in match day 1 to start off our split 2 just last week, where Alter was that first Legend banned before Crypto was the inevitable next one. But we got to bring back in Rain Day because there's a lot to break down from that first game.
Thanks, Vicky. And, I'm looking at Zach and Loader and Carter for quite a long time. I'm getting mesmerized there by that trio. I really love what Vision are doing, Jayhawk, in a big picture way. I think this is a team that has a lot going for them, a lot that they all are trying to achieve in terms of, their overall echelon and kind of like, the backdrop of what their histories and their legacies in Apex Legends are going to be. I think they're all going for that. What do you like about this team? Why do you think they succeeded here in this first game?
I really love that Zach was able to take this young duo, obviously some up-and-comers. A lot of people saw the potential that they had, but you put them under his veteran leadership where he can kind of mold them into the players that he wants. and they're just incredible. Like, truly, the synergy between these three is fantastic. The one thing that I've really noticed since they've joined Zach is that Carter has grown much more confident in terms of making his own plays. This is something that I think was really a struggle for them when he first joined the roster. Even going into Paris, that was something I was a little concerned about, was can he be the one that is able to push forward, being those characters like the Altar, like the Wraith? Obviously, in this game, didn't really have to make too many plays, only came away with 3 KP, but at the very least, getting to that train track early was super impressive because it prevented HUSS from taking the high ground. It forced them to leave the spot they were playing, go out to the low ground, and that positioning ultimately was got them the win.
Listen, third place. I mean, coming in, they were the top performing team in North America when it came to EWC. And I think the other thing that I really want to talk about how well they've done is just what they've I think put together as a roster. I hope they stay with it, because what we've seen in Apex is, you know, people they get a little bit of motion and then they start moving teams. They see where's the best fit. My hope and wish for these guys is try to see if you can get and raise that trophy together as a trio, because if this team keeps building, Jay, it feels like it's going to be very hard to stop them this year. I mean, they've already played really well. They're building on it in Split 2. I just don't see why this team would not be able to do the same thing going into Vegas and possibly win it all.
Absolutely. I agree. I think they're definitely one of the favorites to take Vegas. I think they're even one of the favorites maybe to challenge for the title in Sapporo. And I know that for Zach, he's learned the lesson over the years that the grass is not always greener when you make a change. Yeah, so I think that he is very comfortable with where he's at right now. I've seen a lot of people already suggesting online that he's probably signed these two guys to lifetime contracts.
I hope so. That's what I'm saying, Zach. I hope he locked it down, man. And at the end of the day, I hope they also realize the impact of staying as a team. We don't see it enough in Apex, and my mind is on roster swaps coming up next week, but I really hope these guys stay together. I think there's a bright future for them. Game 1 goes their way. Heading into game 2, Vicky, Brav, let's see if they can continue.
Thank you so much, Randy and Jayhawk. He says his mind's on roster changes. Bravo, I'll be real. My mind is not on that because holy, it's like a nightmare. But you know what? It's going to be crazy risky, but considering that we keep highlighting what a blitz this split is. So will you be willing to take that risk or find that cohesion like we have seen right now with Team Vision?
Yeah, that's really the question. And I think you talk about teams that need it right now. And the first one that comes to mind is Team Liquid, like we said, coming into this day in 12th, which is kind of unthinkable for them. But I want to point out one thing as I started to, as we tend to do, map the whole end game together. During the Liquid listen-in, Vicky, you might remember, I believe it was Sykes who said the Grandma's team has just evac'd and talked about, and guess what? That was HUSS. And at the moment, it didn't feel like HUSS evacing from Grandma's into Skyhook was that big of a threat, but it was HUSS in the end that evicted them from train station. So just a really good route plan. And keep in mind, HUSS was mixed up in the brain rotting battle in the routing tunnel. They had to then go south. They had to reset a bit. So once again, we should highlight HUSS, a team that's on the other end, third place coming into the day. It was a very, very good eviction from them to take the North.
What did you call it? They're catching them with their pants on? I mean, they did that and more, if anything, because that was tough, especially when they were holding that spot for so long. They did steal away some KP in the distance, but it wasn't the placement that they have wanted. And after watching so many scrims this week alone with you, Bravo, side by side, we were talking about how crazy of a team Team Liquid has been ramping up, but those are scrim bugs for a reason, right? So you got to make sure you find that consistency as we go on to game number 2 on World's Edge.
Now, by the way, we should mention the Altar ban that you so wisely pointed out is a huge deal, because as we saw in the last match day, Altar was a game 4 ban on this exact map rotation in this region, which changes, of course, how everything goes. And once you would have been in game 2, this would normally be an Altar Seer Watson game. Instead, everything blows wide open, and any of the map order, kind of the ban order and comps that we had seen from both scrims as well as the previous match day on this rotation, it kind of goes out the window. So it's an opportunity for things to blow open a little bit more here. Of course, we're still going to see, based on that crypto ban, of course, based on the Altar ban, we're still going to see just a ton of kind of Seer coming into play. You wonder how many Wraiths will come into play eventually, but it certainly is a different ban order, and it's worth noting.
And it's also scary to try to pull out anything of the likes of Watson and Cossack for the same exact reason why you could expect the crypto, the EMP, just deleting all your hard work. I'm so sorry when it comes to your Picasso painting, but you won't be able to bunker down inside of these buildings as easily. So that's something else to keep in mind as we get set up and say goodbye to Altar as our first legend ban. But it's also really nice to see how that first match shaped up for Forge Wolves too, right? Because they did get that 4K PSI from that second place, but an even bigger game was HUSS not only getting those placement points with 8K AP. But then Crazy Thieves also trailing right behind them, showcasing that consistency, rolling out and finding themselves in that top 5. But again, that was just the first game, everybody. We're getting locked and loaded for match number 2.
Yeah, to tell you what, if you're not ready, make sure you strap in, because as we said, when you thought things might be kind of run-of-the-mill in terms of the ban order, that altar ban is a big deal, because as you saw in EMEA, there was no altar ban, and also, as we said, a game for it. So you would have just seen, it's probably the rough number would be dozens and dozens, if not, over the course of the series, instances of altar that you'd expect to see. So it really will change things. So we'll have to take a look at exactly how the comps come through. But in terms of one of them, it's going to be Team Vision. Your winners of the last game, they are going to be on the CryptoPath Seer.
The skies are looking congested once again, and that means that we're probably going to be welcoming in a lot more of those Catalyst players, because obviously when we talk about no Cossack, no watching, that comes into the conversation of Catalyst. Zach literally zooming by, though, and as we take a look at our Game 1 winners, Team Vision, look, you see how that zone pool is going to benefit them, because it is pulling towards No Name on the north side of Geyser.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we've seen a little bit of this as well since the Season 30 update. Like you said, it's all about really those No Name zones. You could also consider the tracks, of course, just outside of No Name. We have seen kind of that traditional pull as well, and when you talk about teams that need to make a move, Sentinels with a console from Geyser, they will immediately be looking for those fragment buildings if they can get them. Sesame Oil coming in from Overlook as well. They will have seen that flight, so they know that they need to move fast as well.
It's kind of another one of those zones, too, where you're kind of having a similar situation to our Skyhook zones, where there's going to be a lot of space for teams to try to coexist until it starts pulling, if it does pull, closer to No Name or probably towards Fragment a lot more often. But you're going to be able to share more of those floors as more teams now prioritize getting into that next zone. Geekay being one of them. Storm already, Hasta La Vista from Sorting Factory. They have 2 surveys, 1 ring console, too, on that rotate if they were able to get it already. And they will be trailing from right behind Geekay. I'm wondering how scary it could be to try to rotate and hold these southern chokes too early, and seeing how some of these teams may want to play off of that high ground hilltop that overlooks the action by Fragment.
I was thinking the same exact thing. Storm has a decision to make, and it looks like with the evac going down, the decision will actually probably be No Name as they see GK leave No Name. So that's going to be the Storm decision. I was wondering the same thing. That was, I wouldn't hold that choke this early either, and that was going to always be a risky decision. But yeah, you know what's interesting too is with Sesame Oil kind of coming in from Overlook, you would imagine that some late arrivers might play this zone from the Overlook Hills. So I'm expecting that to go later in the game as well, as everyone slowly tucks into both Fragment as well as No Name.
Sharing one brain cell, bro. That's how it's got to be. But you know what? Crazy Thieves, they can't be on one brain cell, because right now, AG Globe, I believe, was a team that was trailing from right behind them. A lot of a big pile up here, honestly, because Shopify are inside one building. Full 11 are coming in from that Harvester choke. And Crazy Thieves now lose out on Phony. It's on to the hands of Negative, but nice revenge from Koiful to take a different off angle to allow Jim Burden to hold the other side of the corner. And look at these Evo shields, too. They do have the advantage in terms of their health and already getting aggressive just so that way they can get this res successfully.
Google Gadget ults says the Axel is
Ain't no way. No way.
No.
Dude.
That is the most efficient I have seen that device behave, as now Koi's just also going, oh my goodness, with the Nitro Gate. He's gonna wrap, Jen's gonna fly in, and I told you Freethinkers was gonna be up to no good at the center of the map, but CRT wants none of it.
Koiful's insane, but I cannot believe, dude, they had a 4th player on their team, and it was the Kickstarter, and like that followed him everywhere. What? Up the zipline and everything. Like, it be your own sometimes, but you know what? AG Global, we were just talking about this team who was rotating from the Monument side, now finding themselves closer into Fragment on the other half of the zipline, playing right underneath the building here to see where these teams are going to be, because Jay is right on top of them. And for so many other teams to be within the vicinity, just taking any opportunity, since there's no altar, to maybe try to pick up some loot, because you won't be able to remotely pick up the loot from the death boxes that you would have had with the altar passive since she's banned.
Yeah, we should mention, of course, also that comp that you just saw, by the way, it is indeed with the altar ban, and it's a much earlier one than usual in the current meta. We have 12 teams swapping to the Wraith, so it will be a Cat Crypto Wraith, 12 teams on that, which just brings us such a different game too than we've seen on World's Edge in the split so far.
Heck, when you see a Skyhook for game number 1, you know it's going to be a rather slower start, but it's the way that a lot of these teams are finding this poke pressure, getting control over so much information. Already moving ahead to closing the gap, January being on that series. Got the exhibit ready, but they're looking to try to find this team. Oh, nice scan here too. Calling them out as they're trying to run for their life. It's going to be Team Darkspire, who are slightly out of position right in front of Headglytch.
Yeah, look at this, like you said, just using that Seer Q, and might even just leave some nades here in the dome, just in case anyone was to come back. Rocks will go through. January maybe thought about taking it, but instead probably just going to continue bullying them into the tunnel.
Run as fast as you can, though. They're going to try to at least reposition. Headglytch do actually want to chase them. I mean, wanting to prioritize this next zone pool will allow them to look at where Darkspire rotate from themselves, honestly, if they play by Grandma's house.
Yeah.
Both these teams, obviously, with 100% of these teams rocking crypto, will both have those crypto drones to get that information.
Yeah, like you said, you saw the pings going down right away on the Grandma's UAV, so they're going to get that info, which is just free info about their back, and they're also now probably going to decide if they want to chase Darkspire. By the way, it is worth mentioning, Headglytch is the only team on a Crypto Seer Wraith. That's a pretty specific choice. I think, you know, not a crazy one at all, but they are the only team running it. Of course, just a slight variation on the Ultra variant.
I'm seeing the different approaches here, too. Drone for drone, EMP for EMP. The exhibit, though, called in, gives him that upper hand as Loader's going to be able to try to eat off these nades. A nice knock here as Carter's taking a different angle, but over to the left side. Catching Loader off guard. Carter has been fragging out, but Zach is one, and Carter's out of the fight, trying to pop the shield back, but they have to capitalize off of this knock.
These are the chokes that you and I both wanted to avoid, and for probably this exact reason that you're seeing on the screen from distance is going to be enemy that is going to get finished. So they're still going to hold this height here, and it looks like, unsurprisingly, it will instead be the other side that needs to make sure to get out. Gary trying to stay alive.
That's why it's even better just to send out your Wraith player to do the D, because they can queue you back if they have to. Get aggressive. You need to find this KP, but look who is right behind Vision. It is DINOS, who will have their own crypto drone, who will be able to get a scan. BRAINROTTING looking to reset fully. You have one member of Team Vision looking to finish them off, and Shopify show their face. BRAINROTTING finally get eliminated, but that goes into Zap's hands for some free KP. Here's Dino, though, as they try to creep from right behind Vision, but Vision's fully healthy, and they have the high ground advantage.
I'll tell you what, this is some classic World's Edge, but now you add Crypto Seer meta into trying to fight through this choke, right? This was hard enough years ago, but now trying to fight this against the Crypto Seer is going to be difficult. It's big damage from Loader. They will continue to hold the high ground.
Where were you when Seer came out? It's been ages. PTSD galore. As Loader doesn't have a shield bat, so forced to slowly heal, getting information just in case a 3P is possible. So now Team Vision know that they have some time here to try to look down at Dinos if they do try to chow them again. But let's not forget, Storm are still in no name. They're still looking behind them to see if anybody could rotate from the back end of Geyser, which there isn't a team there, at least for now, unless Dinos decide to back away from Team Vision and maybe take a roundabout rotate instead. But also, they could opt to just go in from the Northern Harvester side choke too, where Unreal Nightmare was holding the left side of the track. So a lot of decision making here for both these teams.
Absolutely, and speaking of decision making, I think we just saw in that kind of zone pip, by the way, so much of south of the tracks and bins is in this. So I think there's a decision to be made of, does this go fragment and fragment tracks, or does it maybe even come further south?
Maybe towards that lot right in front of Team Vision. We're gonna have to see if it ends up completely focusing itself over to that north side here as Team Liquid find themselves in a fight by Epi, but it's a big pileup. Yes. Team Darkspire are literally, they're not worldwide, but they could be worldwide with the way that they're literally traversing through the entirety of World's Edge. Now over here is also Headglytch. They were probably trying to chase after them originally with Crazy Thieves. Now looking at Team Liquid looking to reset too with the Wraith portal, but everybody is scattered here to Epi once they heard the third party, the fourth party show up.
The fourth, and guess what? HUSS is thinking about a fifth party, by the way. They are going to sit right kind of at the Epi fragment barrier as well. So like you said, pileup is the only way to describe what's happening in Epi. This is way outside of zone, and you've got 5 teams here.
This is crazy. Sykes at least gets January, though, so that's some KP going in favor for Team Liquid. As we've already mentioned, Team Liquid, this is a team that has definitely been able to just get better and better. Zero's going to be able to try to navigate away, but right there in the distance, you mentioned the pileup. Team Darkspire are still over to that north side here. The wrap up here as Team Liquid try to contest the back end of Darkspire while Crazy Thieves still have high ground.
Team Liquid has got to be thinking, what the hell are you all doing here, right? They're coming in from War Camp. They've been here all game. Somehow 4 other teams. Headglytch is forced to nope out. Darkspire is still here. HUSS is actually getting more and more interested in this battle, and Liquid is going to be surrounded here.
Oh, look at the way that Zero's positioned, though. They get one knock here. They don't know where he is. He finished off Team Darkspire. That was the last member of that team. HUSS now trying to show face by 2 team members pushing forward, leaving only one behind. I believe that's a crypto player who's invisible to get that scan. And seeing that the fight is done, Crazy Thieves are still within the vicinity. So this gives time for Team Liquid to get a full reset here.
They will get a full reset. They will need to, of course, move quick, but they will have a variety of ways that they can, of course, come down this hill. It does, like you said, force CRT. The zone itself forces CRT and HUSS just a little bit lower, which buys Liquid just a little bit of time to start to make their move down. But guess what? CRT and HUSS are still going to be waiting there at the edge of zone.
Looking at that zone pool, by the way, Bravo. Well, what did I say? I said by the weapon bins, right? Like right there in front of Vision. Woohoo! All right. Well, I feel so bad for the teams who thought that they will be able to coexist by Fragment, because they're going to be evicted out of this LUT. And good luck to those teams that will be caught in the bloodbath. 17 squads left, and wait until they see that next zone pool. You know what? Even better, though, for a team like Storm, the only team that went over to No Name after Geekay gave that up, and now are looking to get the res. They successfully pull it off, but it's right next to Crazy Thieves. Let's jump into a listening with Crazy Thieves to see if they punish them.
They're triple setting. Bro, this is free picks for you. I'm not even trolling. I'm looking left. I'm looking your icicles. Icicles is clear. Come on.
I think the con team left here. I think this is the con team.
There's one in the left corner, one right corner. He's just sitting in drum.
Where's the team in zone, bro? There's a team in zone.
I need chill a bit. That's fine.
They can just come behind us.
We need to kill this team. Can we just kill this team? Or no? Kill him. Nice. Kill the last guy. Kill him. You kill him. You'll kill him.
Can I kill him or the res con?
Yes,
the res con.
Come, Jen. He's on your side, Jen. He's on your side.
Yeah, I'll shoot him. I'm swinging him.
You kill him, Court. He's on the ground. Dead. Alright, stay high ground. We need to watch this team. Yes. Listen, I'm in on me. My song's really good. Don't work out. We need to kill this. Okay, coming. I'm EP. We need to fight. Crazy. They're just leaving. They're going back. I got EP. Yeah.
I can't kill them.
I need cross. I have a good eagle on me. Hard. They're trying to cross. Hard. 2-1. We need to kill this.
I'm batting.
Shoot it.
I can't want myself.
My thermite. Really good thermite.
I'm good.
Can I swing up?
I'm batting.
Playing up. On me. Painted him. I'm swinging him. Swing him. I'm in. You're just sitting behind keys. Chill. Reset.
Get on top.
Good shot. Chill.
Reset.
Better.
Where are you facing?
I don't know.
On a bridge?
Hey, John.
Those were some disgusting prowler shots at the hands of Koifo. I love hearing the communication. I was chuckling a little bit. Headglytch do get eliminated. Blake now moving up with the rest of Sentinels. Team Vision with just Carter left, clinging up for dear life, but it may be too little, too late. And I was wondering, looking at the position that Team Vision was in, they got sent on, and they were literally the closest team to where that zone pool was going.
We've been talking about that choke for the whole game for a good reason. And look at it's DINOS. By the way, DINOS opted out of this choke. They go Geyser choke, and while we were in that listening, DINOS actually just straight up challenges from Geyser choke to the west, and they win this choke. And it's like we said, we're saying that this zone could easily pull bins. Right now, this is where you want to be. DINOS, of course, needs to make sure they're just kind of playing the natural cover that these rocks offer on height, but everyone has to come to DINOS, and they will need to make sure they're holding wide enough space to not get collapsed on.
And by the way, that was with them also having time to pull off a res on top of it all. So that is actually insane for DINOS, and their prime position as Zero finds another victim. Crazy Thieves wait on for Jen to have fully healed before now making this rotate. I like these comms here already, as you could receive Koiful creating that bridge to gap out themselves into that train building, but together they will be looking at AG Global, who will be holding onto the streamer building, and a lot of these teams are gonna have to eventually collapse on one another once they see so many other crypto drones waiting for them by the choke, like Sentinels, like Storm, HUSS, and even Unreal Nightmare.
Yeah, this is one of those zones where everyone, like you said, is around Streamer, they're around Fragment, they're at No Name, they're everywhere but exactly where we need to go. And speaking of, it's going to be Team Liquid trying to take to the skies over everyone, and we'll see how Sentinels, Unreal Nightmare, and DINOS try to collapse on them landing.
Wait, crazy evac panic is one those Sentinels. They try to get the stun and he gets stunned while he lands and then gets griefed by DJ from DINOS. Oh no, as Team Liquid with that risky evac tower. I mean, this is what you could kind of expect when you don't know where everybody is situated. It was inevitable here. Even with the catwalk called in, Crazy Thieves are also going to get caught on this rotate.
Wow, yeah, I mean, they had to make a decision, of course, but it's still going to be a painful one for Liquid to exit there early yet again. Like we said, they need a big day. Sesame Oil will go down as well, and AG Global just trying to play a little bit of knockdown seals. Yonda trying to stay alive here along with Niasul.
6 squads left right now, and AG Global will have 5 KP. DINOS another team with 5 KP, and Sentinels looking to put another one on the board. Having a slow start after that game 1, though, and coming in swinging. They look at a team trying to res right before their eyes. Not gonna happen here as AG Global get eliminated in 4th.
By the way, DINOS is holding, look at the space that they're holding. It's so wide right now. They have the entire west side as well as the south. They're doing exactly what they need to do, but it's now Sentinels to the north. It's going to be DINOS to the south, and HUSS right along No Name. These are your final 3 squads.
Right down on the Crypto Drone. That's pretty big, though. Now you have to consider the EMP potential here as they could have the advantage. Why Jelly slides in. He gets the crack with the L-Star, but he's almost cracked himself. He does have that overkill, though, so he will be able to heal passively over time. So Why Jelly now taking onto the high ground still with that breach. Shoots out at Jay Future here on the other side to try to give him some cover fire as Sentinels are king of the hill for now, but looking to see if they can dethrone DINOS little by little as they inch from the western side of this rotate.
By the way, DINOS was split, but not the good kind of split. They actually coded 2-to-1 split, and it's going to be, as you just saw, I believe J Future going down. So DINOS will be a duo up against Sentinels holding tracks here, and it's going to be HUSS now who has moved all the way in from No Name. HUSS now has the advantage. Game in their hands.
Are we playing musical chairs with the rings? Because now HUSS, they have the seat, and they're looking to stay seated here as Sentinels. Monsoon making a plan. Gonna be able to try to slide his way around with the drone after it gets destroyed, though. That's gonna be pretty big, but trying to get the information, they failed to do so, and they're looking at 2 teams. Now Sentinels in a terrible spot. They're playing off the low ground, and everybody on the high ground between HUSS and DINOS are still looking at them, even though DINOS is a duo.
Sentinels with the only catwall in the lobby. We'll have to see exactly where that is, but it certainly could be a factor here if they want to try to get this map siphoned off.
I don't think they have it here. They're forced to just walk it in from right underneath them, and now Sentinels get eliminated. That's so unfortunate. That could have been a game-changing ultimate, and now with the rest of these teams now moving up, DINOS, HUSS, they're the only squad that still has all 3 alive, and they take out DINOS as HUSS are your Game 2 champions.
Wow, it's another great game from them, and this time it's a win. And as we said, already coming in 3rd place in the split. It was 2nd on the last match day. We talked about him in the pregame for a good reason. It's Deeds, Dupe, and Jelly, who not only, as you said, play that game well, but they play musical chairs and they take the height of the choke in the end. And Vicky, that's the 2nd game in a row where they have not had the advantageous spot, and they have figured out a way to play and bully everyone off the height and take it and win the game as well.
And that's with them coming out of East Village over by their POY. Like, they went all the way from the north side of the map, and they found themselves in that middle spot after seeing DINOS kind of get torn apart and basically take their spot away from them, right? It was Team Vision first, then DINOS moves up. They won that fight. They get the res. They take control over that high ground. Playing split up, though, costs them. And then HUSS gets to walk on over and take the best position that they could be in to prevent exactly the situation that Sentinels was in there.
We're going to have to get thoughts from Jayhawk on if the cat was a misclick and not having a Seer Crypto Wraith in that lobby. I don't know.
Yeah, what the heck?
It's a surprising choice from them. Of course, still a respectable finish in the end from Sentinels, but you do, of course, expect them to play a very different end game. But it's HUSS who puts 20 points on the board after that game.
Look, if I'm going to see 13 race in this lobby blink, in my mind, it has to be one of them, and then it wasn't. So, you know what? I don't know what's going on there, but this also means we will be saying goodbye to the Crypto after game number 2. So both Crypto and Alter will be in jail for now, and we're going to have to see how that's going to influence game number 3. But looking at the series results alone, HUSS now overtake Crazy Thieves after that dub. They did secure that win, too, with AKP.
Yeah, and look at just how much they've played. You could just tell. Look at the kills category, tied with CRT, but over triple the placement points of CRT. And we've seen time and time again, as every time we got to take a look at the map feed, they just knew where to be and slowly just bided their time. They are able to bully themselves into the prime position now, and two very good games and ending the most recent one, of course, with a big win that there's a lot to be proud of.
It's nice to see too, and you get to really break down their comms, because if you guys want control over how you watch the ALGS, well, guess what? The new multi-view experience here follows multiple player point of views alongside us. So while you guys get that dedicated HUD overlay, you get to draw your Nessies and follow your favorite team. So make sure to check out algs.ea.com, log in using your EA account, and watch multi-view the way that you like. And on top of that, for those of you guys watching on Twitch, make sure you collect your sushi Nessie gun charm. Very cute. I collected mine a while ago, and you also get an Apex pack, which, by the way, I saw some people in the chat earlier watching Amia said that one Apex pack that they opened got them an heirloom. So that could be you too.
I saw that screenshot. Absolutely insane. I feel like if that isn't reason to make sure that you're getting the drops, I don't know what is. That's a pretty lucky grab.
I can't say the same, unfortunately. I got 1 blue, 2 whites. But you know how it goes when it comes to opening up your Apex packs. Make sure you guys collect your rewards, and make sure to stay tuned for game number 3 on the other side of this break.
Sony InZone, the official audio and monitor partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The slaughter is upon us. And so it begins.
War mode. First off, I'm here. Second off, everybody shut up. 3 things to make clear. Y'all forgot what's up.
The gun is the tool.
I'm on 5 on my top 5. Ain't no 6, man, we all right. I roll a 7 with 2 dots. 8 this big, this 2 stuff.
The hunter is the weapon.
Chosen hunter, beast of slaughter, they will learn my name once more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS. I'm here with the boy Rain Day, and we just concluded match number 2. Rain Day, I want to hear more of your thoughts too after watching already that second gameplay. I know you and Jayhawk broke down the action after game number 1, but that zone pool was the demise of a lot of teams that were banking on Frag East.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you look at kind of trying to preempt where the zone is going to go, you can get right and you can get very, very wrong. A lot of teams felt that in that last zone, but also I think there's a lot of conversation around what this first couple of games setting the tone for World's Edge is going to look like. Many people thought Crypto would be banned early. Crypto was available, so I think that threw a couple of people off also. But now finally heading into match 3, we'll see the alter, we'll see the Crypto banned. I think the interesting element is like it opens up now conversations around how do you navigate these fights where maybe you don't plan on it in any one way, and now you have to be more aggressive. And I feel like Maggie, Bloodhound, we've seen that show up in match 3. That's where I'm looking, and I'm also really curious about who is going to take advantage of the Bloodhound coming into this one.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because if we follow like a similar suit of match day 1 bans, we had the Alter first, right? Which was, you know, what we just saw. Crypto second, Seer third, and we see the influence with the Seer going in already into this next game, and already between HUSS and Crazy Thieves. It's that difference of points here and the way that they have been able to secure that dub in game number 2 with 8 KP, but still very tight in the overall standings after 2 games.
Yeah, HUSS is a team that I really like, and I talked about Dupe, but maybe I didn't mention enough of what Deeds brings to the table. I feel like he's just such a solid player for them, and he's also quite a good fragger in 1v1 situations. He excelled when Newcastle was available, and he could play around the shield, play with the Peacekeeper. It's not necessarily that PK meta that we're used to, but I feel like Deeds, when given the right scenario, is really, really solid, and that just opens up a lot for Jelly. So this is a team that I think, you know, leading today, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I feel like not only do they have this energy, but they have a lot of individual talent that maybe isn't talked about enough. So keep your eyes on HUSS. This is a great game for them to kind of spread this lead out, especially with World Edge going so well. I would hope that they could, you know, add another 15-20 points to their total and kind of go into Storm Point feeling confident.
And, you know, talking about a team that, you know, was able to also win the first match of the day, Team Vision, they're landing in launch site, and unfortunately we have to highlight that Storm will be playing as a duo this game, so that could just kind of be free pickings for Vision if they also want to be able to boost themselves right alongside Crazy Thieves, as Crazy Thieves are in that second place, and Vision are literally just a few points away from matching that together with them and seeing how this game plays out. But first, we got to take a look at HUSS, our game 2 winners, and with no crypto in the lobby here, we're still seeing the Axel Seer together with some more with Jelly on the Axel.
It's really comfortable for Jelly, and you know, I like the way he's playing. We also saw Koifel playing it as well on ShopifyRebellion. Swapped off of it, but had a couple of nice plays near Fragment and kind of messing around, making sure that you can get those angles quicker. And Axel still brings a lot to the table, but when you're the only player who's willing to run it, and he is the only player running Axel in this lobby, it says that there's something else about this character. He mentioned he's frustrated at the nerfs, but still feels comfortable enough to be on the character. I think it's actually again, another reason to watch this team, because if they can show that it works despite these nerfs when everyone's kind of turned away from it, I think it'll open up a lot more counter options that we'll see in these later 3, 4, 5, 6 matches.
That's very interesting because it's kind of a different topic of feeling comfortable, but unfortunately, Zainu is not comfortable at all. Actually, they've just taken out Zainu so hard. That is huge for AG to pick up that free KP for them. I did see Zainu's teammates on the other side of this choke, and now AG Global are wanting to capitalize on the fact that they're a duo.
Team Vision already finding a couple of kills as well on their side, but yeah, Zainu, ShopifyRebellion in trouble there. Team Vision going to do a good job of holding tight. I mean, you clearly know that this team is being navigated by one of the best IGLs in the world. Zach has continued to improve, and I just love the journey that these guys are on right now. I mentioned hopefully he has them signed to some very long contracts. Jayhawk mentioned lifetime contracts. I think that's not enough for how well these guys are doing.
DINOS just destroyed Geekay. They get eliminated very early in this lobby. Actually, the first team to get eliminated completely before even the duo could get taken out. And that is definitely very interesting. A very good setup here for DINOS. I mean, they're ramping off of the fact that they were in that end zone for game number 2 and now are continuing on that momentum into this third match.
Interestingly enough, Vicky, we talk about the Bloodhound, and we talk even about characters like Pathfinder as well, kind of on the lower pick rate for sure. Only 40 appearances overall in this split from Bloodhound, but a 10% win rate. And I think that just kind of goes to show that the teams that are using this legend and with the updates know something about how this legend is playing. I mean, Axel as well, also kind of in a pretty high win rate percentage, 7.5%. And comparatively, putting that to like Alter, it's like 5%. So Axel actually winning more than the top 5 legends all combined. So I feel like that just goes to show that some of these off picks, while we aren't seeing them as much, when the players are picking them like Jelly there, it really goes to their comfort, goes to their understanding of how to utilize that legend.
Let me tell you, that Kickstarter makes me want to rip my hair out. I can't believe what I just witnessed earlier. It was actually insane. But also, this also makes me feel a type of way. I mean, Seer Tech for Seer Tech. Krook tries to get the crack originally in the follow-up from Rosie to get that knock. Sets Brain Rotting in the high seat, because currently they're going to be able to follow up. They have the number advantage. They see that they're trying to get away, but it's hustle la vista. They put down the Watson fence. They get the follow-up on the crack, and they're trying to fully prevent this reset from happening.
Trying to do enough to just ward off anybody trying to come in and steal not only the space that they're taking, but any of the kills that are left on the table. Crook following up really nicely there, and the Hemlock Prowler are going to do him justice. He'll push that team back as well. Pluto Reality and Awan's going to fall back as Enemy Crook and Mr. Rosie Brain Rotting, top of the league so far, continue to push away and become top in that engagement.
Frying out Sesame Oil, now forcing them to play it as a duo. That was an isolated fight, too, in Sorting Factory. But what was important was the information that the winning team comes out from Sorting, because they have the ring console, the double survey beacon. Now Darkspire team looking to chase down this Valkyrie squad. They get the double hit, though. They're spinning up like a Beyblade, but they do manage to get away as Rox is going to be able to pop this shield bat. And they weren't alone while Unreal Nightmare take to the skies. Guess what? HUSS was trailing right behind this fight to maybe get involved. They're a little too late. Darkspire look behind them, and HUSS also back away, because both these teams between Unreal Nightmare and HUSS are going to prioritize this next rotation.
Yeah, Southern Zone here, obviously going to be very, very contested. A lot of teams already in zone. There's only about 5 not in it, as well as Mr. Rosie already in the middle of the engagement. Helps get Enemy back up. Pluto Reality chasing down Sesame Oil, and they find that kill onto him, and Mr. Rosie will get Brain Rotting back up to a full 3.
And leaves down the solo that is Sesame Oil. Unfortunately for them, they didn't have that third to be able to follow up, because they were down to that duo. Brain Rotting is just farming this KP, and so is DINOS right now. 3 KP to their name. Sesame Oil do get the rest, though. That is very important to highlight here, because they ended up going over to launch site. But could that be KP served on the silver platter is the question for Brain Rotting, since they were right there waiting to chase out that solo over by launch site. And Eurus too, just being another one of those players here who had just gotten res earlier on, just trying to stay alive as Storm playing in this disadvantage.
That's a good point. Storm kind of on the outside of this zone right now and trying to find their way into a comfortable position, but you can see that DINOS on the northern side still also trying to move a little bit. Most of the teams I mentioned already engaged, and here's HUSS going on to another engagement here. 35 points for them, trying to add a little bit more, Vicky. It's going to be pretty easy shooting fish in a barrel here, but Duplex does lose Jelly in the process.
They are out here, like, truly, they are going so crazy in the way that they're trying to take a lot more of these aggressive fights. They will be able to at least get the res, but they're not letting Darkspire loose so easily. They're looking to continuously push them from inside the zone, but this is very risky, because look who's waiting for them inside of the zone is Unreal Nightmare that could easily 3P this.
It's almost like they have to push through completely, because Unreal Nightmare know they've kind of cut away anybody trying to come back, unless the CR2 is really detrimental to them, kind of saying, don't come this way. It's just going to be tough for them. And Deeds goes down thanks to a grenade from Qzier. It's going to be another full knock onto Deeds, and this means that it's going to be hopefully just escape for Duplex and Jelly. And I mean, it's kind of looking tough there. Not the engagement they would have hoped after they got a couple KP in that.
I mean, after they just won game number 2 as well, Rain Day, like, you would expect this team to continue on with that domination, but they were hungry for KP, and they maybe wanted to capitalize off of getting a bigger lead in the overall standings. Now ends up biting them as Unreal Nightmare take to the skies. HUSS still alive for now in this game, seeing if they could try to get the full reset after they were trying to chase down the solo member that was left of Team Darkspire, who, by the way, still in this game. Unreal Nightmare, though, land right on top of Duplex's forehead, and they take him out. But HUSS and Darkspire, it's down to a solo 1v1.
It's just such a late rotation. I mean, they're up basically a little below Skyhook, and it's just, you know, it's tough for them. Jelly's going to make it out, maybe can pull something crazy off, but it's just kind of the wrong timing for them, and they know it. They want to get back into it. They've done so well. Can they somehow do this, though? Jelly with the Axle showing exactly why maybe this character survives a little more than we thought. Will get the respawn, and with all of the members of HUSS coming back up, they will live to fight another day, so not over yet.
And Brainrotting being able to bring back up Crook here. Headglytch now getting involved in the fight. Playing on the outskirts of this building, only 1 point on the board. They've been doing damage, but they haven't been able to secure this KP, which is even more important. With Riley also having that portal in play, round 2 he's going to close in at their backs, but they're trying to chase right on the other side of Fredster. And January does swing wide with no suppressed fire as Riley has a medkit, ends up popping it while still holding the Headglytch over by the slant.
Was I looking at a glitch, or does he have literally no attachments on that Prowler? It's rare to see absolutely no attachments on a weapon, but Riley was just saying, I'll take a Prowler with nothing over any other weapon with something. Yeah, it's true. He's got absolutely nothing, and trying to get into that full auto by doing enough damage. So hopefully he'll be able to do it. Headglytch only on 1 point. And gonna add maybe another here with some KP, make it 2.
After coming out from the res, they had to take this fight just so that way he could have something to work off of. So that was great for them because they called out the risk and reward there, and it was definitely worth it, as now they're going to be able to move into the zone uncontested on the north side of launch site. But BRAINROTTING, after we saw them get the res over by Tree, are moving slightly away from Tree, so that gives some room to Headglytch to trail out from right behind them, especially after seeing them take to the skies, where they will have a ring console and survey beacon, or will Headglytch prioritize where Sesame, that one solo is going to rotate to? I feel like it's not worth it just rotating from the train tracks. For Headglytch, will benefit them to see where this entire pile up for this final zone is.
Crazy Thieves sitting in ultimate height on thermal station where this zone will end. It's a great spot for them. We talked about how successful this team has been, and they continue to do so just by making good decisions. The mixture of talent plus now the identity with all the roles here. Koifel fitting in, I mentioned like a glove, doing again what he's meant to do, which is get kills, open things up, and now sitting in a great spot for game number 3 to go their way. Still a lot left to play. 18 squads still left, Vicky, as we kind of take a look narrowly onto that map just to show you exactly where things have gone. HUSS kind of moving still from the northern side of Skyhook. They've gotten up as a 3, so that's a good sign for them. Still alive. The lobby will know that they did not fall down. Unreal Nightmare, Sesame Oil still kind of playing with fire in the zone so far, as most teams, especially like Team Vision, who we've kept an eye on and has been doing well so far, on the southern side, trying to find the right place to play and maybe just slow playing this as well, seeing what this next zone will show for us.
I just keep seeing Dupe getting knocked by the ring over on the top right side. So you talk about being on the sticks. I know after getting the res, they're trying their best, but I think they found an evac tower, so HUSS will be able to fly from mod over onto the north side of the map, closer into this next zone. But look at this pileup. I mean, it's 4 teams, making 5 with Sesame Oil also getting a reset, where Headglytch did try to poke at them, and now are rotating from the south side, where BRAINROTTING will be waiting for them. So a lot of these teams still on the outskirts of this next zone.
Sack on the Seer. Been a big proponent of Seer, and in many ways, I think it's been a very successful legend over the last year, and Zach's made it one of his favorites here. We'll continue to see how this team works, Vicky. I know we've got a listening opportunity with Team Vision as they try to find space to play here in thermal.
Oh yeah, here. I'll let you trade for now. Grab armor.
Sorry.
Grab armor, please, so I can start popping it. I'll get it. If we're in
Bro,
the
I
next
feel like
zone,
we're not in next. I feel like we're not, but let's just wait and see. Because if it's this pullback, we should be in zone for a very long time.
Yeah, we can also just pour underneath Donut too. Just like fence everything.
Yep.
I'm gonna start fencing.
If they ever play on height, we should probably go up.
Okay, I'm not genning yet. I'm just gonna hold my gen.
Oh my god, he can like. Oh my god, how's he alive?
Just took his freaking head off or what?
Bro, I swear I hit the guy 200 blue, bro. I'm not even joking.
You want to go for kidnap, or is it too trolly? Because they can.
No, too troll.
I think it's too risky right now.
Not even worth it.
Let's wait and see zone.
I'll do it on teams that are like congested, because they're probably planing it.
Okay, as a wingman, that's not good. I'm feeling really confident about this zone close here.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be.
Hopefully it doesn't just go freaking east, on the train tracks. If it does, we're gonna have to fight Donut probably.
Oh my god. Wish we never left, huh?
God, if we didn't leave.
Can we go back? Nobody's there. We can see our old spot. Nobody's there.
How do we go back?
Well, there's a team playing this jungle gym.
Well, can't we just run to here and then? Oh, you need to get perp. You don't have perp. You can't double jump up. You could mantle up right here. You could mantle up right here. You see the rocks, Carter? You can mantle up here.
Rotate. Oh, never mind. Oh man, Rain Day, I love these comms because we basically reacted the same. We saw the zone pool and then we're like, wait until they see the zone pool. And then their reaction was like, can we go back? How do we go back? That's a very good question because it's going to get even harder when you have 5 teams waiting for you on this rotate. Like now HUSS being another one of them too.
Yeah, it's tough. They took a southern rotate to get there, and Liquid under duress right now, trying to make their way up this hill. Sack's doing a ton of damage in response, but Vision realized they can't go back that route. Going to try to take a northern side. We'll keep you up to date with that story as well. But Liquid here just kind of fighting for their lives in the moment, and that's going to be the best that they could do.
And while they take this fight here versus Free Thinkers, guess what? Team Vision now wrap up. You heard how they're going to rotate in. Well, guess what? Going in for the 3P is a perfect way to do it against Team Liquid, only leaving Panic alive. Once again, Team Vision move up. They see Core drop all the way down, and there's not much you can do here as Team Liquid do eventually get eliminated with Panic going down, and Team Vision now are playing King of the Hill. They have the high ground, but they have to still inch forward as they aren't in that next zone, just kind of by the edge, but they can still at least move over to the left side.
Yeah, I don't know if they can play this on the lip. I don't think they have enough space to do so. And that is unfortunate because beneath them is another storyline we've been following in HUSS. Jelly, Deeds, Duplex have found their way from the north all the way to the south, and it's Team Vision who are right above them. Both of those teams have to move forward in some direction, and we know that they're going to have to fight each other. The question is, do you kind of take that fight to them, or do you try to just get by, share the space? Team Vision have dropped HUSS, and then will start fighting. But on the other side of things, we see Crook, enemy, that squad hanging out on the southern side of this, and there it is. Vision going up against it. They've lost some shield for Carter, but still alive so far.
And they have the Avengers 4 now, make it 2 here as the Kickstarter is going to send Loader up to the high ground and all the way down because now they still have all 3 members alive versus HUSS, who have just lost out on 2. Why Jelly now is forced to try to slide away right in front of the line of sight, but it was just a matter of time as Loader sends him back to the lobby. Our Game 2 winners are now out.
Man, great coverage there. Thank you, OBS, for finding that because Vision do win that fight. And so now they have the northern side. You got to say IGL. Zach Mazer put him in a great position. And right now, Blinkster as well, back on the Wraith, doing things we expected for him. Top 10, Sentinel still alive and close to in zone, but they've got to get through AG Global, Buckle Boys, and full 11 pretty soon.
And that must feel like Christmas when you see everybody grouped up together, bludgeon a weekend. You see Nuts and you just send out the perfect name of Blinkster. Not quick enough in the death box, gets caught, Such with his pants down because now Blinkster is out of this fight, gets finished off, and that's thanks to Cersei, who picks that up with the L-Star. Sentinel's now down to a duo.
Can I get the death box respawn? It's maybe fast enough. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it right now, though. It obviously would cost a lot of attention, but how else do you go for it? Maybe just worth the risk. We'll have to see. Sentinels don't seem to have done it. 7 seconds probably running by. Full 11 Buckle Boys holding them out from now, but Team Vision as well. They see AG, AL, and they're just going to pull back. Carter on the Wraith can do that. And they're biding their time. I mean, I think this is just a great play from Vision. This is a team who's kind of gone on that journey, a little bit of the Odyssey. I know it's kind of a popular topic right now. I feel like they're almost home, but they've still got a few very, very important kind of hoops to jump through because they're still out of zone, and Unreal Nightmare in that building on the other side, especially ShopifyRebellion as well, also trying to share that space eventually Vision want to run into.
Honestly, just the way that Brainrotting has their entire backs cleared, like coming out of stacks, they are looking primed and ready to take this entire game. But it depends here as Hawades also gets knocked. Quirk is going to pick that up, and Cersei continuously ends up farming here, finding 2 more. AG Global get eliminated as Vision walk up from the other side of the fence line.
Great spot for Vision. They're going to hold Monsoon away. Sentinels looks like they're going to fall out here, and also Buckle Boys. They're playing the low ground. Brainrotting on the other side in a great spot, though, Vicky. Top 6 now. Team Vision, 33 points, sitting in second place.
They have 11 KP. This is insane right now. Team Vision. Okay. The Exterminator needs to gas out this team from right underneath their feet. ShopifyRebellion, by the way, one of the teams that weren't running the Seer, if I recall correctly, when Seer is available, do eventually get called out. There was a solo left from that team. And what does Headglytch still playing from inside this building? But for SeerTech and SeerTech, I just have to highlight once again, if we haven't mentioned it already, we will not be seeing Seer anymore if that wasn't already an obvious from all the Seer tacticals we've seen. But a beautiful breach charge on top of the fact forcing this team to play out the left side, feeling that pressure as J Future gets that next knock.
DINOS, about 22 at land, just outside of that finals lobby, but had a really good performance, I think. And J Future, the Canadian, trying to find his way on the Seer, just to exhibit some of the potential this squad has in this final zone. But they're gonna have to do it against Team Vision as well as Brainrotting, maybe the best playing team in this lobby right now, but also the best team in North America so far. Brainrotting pull back. It's just Buckle Boys underneath them, so kind of assessing the threats, but they don't have to move right now.
Kind of getting unleashed a little bit. Brainrotting, the team who has taken first place the last time these two groups had played off against each other. and making sure that they do not overextend. You see the portal plays coming in, though. They actually managed to stay alive. Well, I mean, where can you go at this point? I mean, now they're coming in from the high ground, but now you can see Brain Rotting on that high ground, looking down at this team who has nowhere to go. Crook actually got greedy, but the fact that you spend the portal, the other portal now from the other side, oh no! Crook, though, at least it's the Wraith. He gets away right on time. No Watson fences are gonna keep him contained. He breaks through the chains, and DJ gets that knockout to Riley, but it's a trade-off too, as J Future is able to follow up.
DJ Killer with the shots from the Hemlock, trying to make something happen here with the top 4. Gets scanned by the Seer as well. Almost goes down, has to fall back. Maggie trying with Riot Drill to just apply some pressure. Seer Q on the other side does hit January, and so that will delay. Buckle Boys still alive underneath it all, though they can't win the game. Keeping points alive in that top 4.
Trying to be the lucky boys instead. Brain Rotting, though, we talked about it before. They were in prime position, and they are farming the players right before their eyes. With these 4 teams left, everybody is weakened, but Mr. Rosie can't get overzealous. There's still January looking at them from the other side. With January being one shot, that's going to be Headglytch eliminated. Dino down to that solo here. Brain Rot fully extending here. They only have to think about that team that's right below them that they won't get KP for, but this is all for Brain Rotting to win.
Buckle Boys are still alive in that corner, and it earns them a 2nd place. I mean, pretty phenomenal from them. Despite having absolutely no chance to win this game, they take a bad situation and they do the best they can with it. Brain Rotting, your champion here in our match 3.
At least they got 1 KP. Rosie kind of gave that to them, you know, and we walk away with the place. We got 2nd place and an extra KP while we're at it. So you know what? We'll take that, as we'll take Brain Rotting winning game number 3. It's hasta la vista to Seer, but Brain Rotting once again have been that team that has showcased that consistency when it comes to these 2 groups clashing.
Yeah, I think Brain Rotting just had a better position. I mean, you look at the way that they approached both of the fights that they were in, whether it was kind of looking to hold bridge or whether it was kind of aggressing onto the team Dinos that started to push and kind of contest against Vision. I feel like Brain Rotting did the least, and they have the least amount to do, which just says that they know where they want to be in this moment. They didn't kind of hesitate. Now, I will say they also did get a lucky pull, Vicky, and you know, luck does have an element to it. You know, opportunity was certainly theirs, and they took advantage of it, but if it hadn't pulled that way, we might be looking at Crazy Thieves winning on that ultimate heightened thermal station because they had such a great spot before the zone moved.
Yeah, it's big to see how not only did you call out their rotate and how they were able to reset for some of the times that they could either chase down a solo or end up re-engaging and holding up their backs, you know, when it came to the teams that may have wanted to rotate out of the track side that leads into tree. But it's the way that they slowly also wanted to involve themselves to not just win, but get the KP that they needed. As we take a look at our series results, HUSS still finding that KP and traveling from all around World's Edge, from getting their reses inside Zone 3 and still getting a cleanup crew ready to come out of the choke when they were playing off that low ground.
Yeah, HUSS in a great spot. I mean, 43 points. They only had 8 to their total, so it's not like super exciting, but I think if you average about 5 to 7 points, you're in a pretty good spot heading into the rest of your maps. And Vicky, obviously that turns into, you know, a great story for HUSS. Can they continue? I certainly think that they can. They've got the ingredients. It's just now that we switch towards Storm Point, keeping up that momentum, maybe finding another game where they win or they get a top 3. I think that would certainly seal the deal for HUSS.
We're gonna have to see how that's gonna play out now as we transition onto Storm Point on the other side of this break.
Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
It's halftime in the Americas is myself, Rain Day, alongside Jayhawk. Break down a topic that we think is very interesting, which is Shopify Rebellion. Coming into this one, some new roster changes. Sorcerer joining, Koifel leaving. Jay, I want to break down the dynamic of this team and also maybe the potential, maybe some of the potential and where it's lost and what this team needs to do to live up to the expectations of a roster and an organization like Shopify Rebellion. Let's start, of course, with this tweet.
Yeah, Sorcerer, he's talking about after their first game day, they were actually in quite a few good positions. The problem was they fell victim to Blinkster's Wraith. He kidnapped them in multiple games in which they probably would have got top 5 if the kidnap didn't happen, considering how powerful the spot they were in was. But that's just kind of how the lobby goes when Wraith is still in, especially when it's going to be Blinkster, probably the most iconic Wraith we have today. So day one didn't really go to plan, but you can only blame bad luck so long because their next day didn't do great either, and today right now they're currently sitting at 10th, Rain.
Yeah, 17 points. Again, I think the reason that we call this out, and the reason we talk about this is because there feels like a little bit of potential in this story that is being not wasted, but maybe unrealized yet. You can have expectations of Sorcerer blending in, but is that all there is to it, or do you feel like there's a deeper element of something they need to fix with how they communicate?
I feel like old habits die hard because right now, when I listen to this team's comms, the one thing that I really notice is that Zainu, the anchor player who's playing Watson, is the player that you hear the most. And that's when Sorcerer has come in to be the IGL. This was kind of the big storyline, was Zainu, having been the IGL for the past year, deciding to give that up to allow Sorcerer to come in. And then Zapdo, being your frontline fragger, who often needs to be calming quite a bit as well, considering that he's the one that can see things in front of him. These two guys are calming the least between the two, and I think Zap really falls behind in that because the other two are much more talkative. I'm starting to wonder, is this problem going to continue throughout the split? Because I think that Zainu has really good things and really good ideas to say, but at some point you do need to give room for your IGL to have time to think and communicate. And I know that this has been a sticking point for Sauce because when Rock, his previous roster, did have issues, a lot of it was between him and Backslot, and he was saying, I need time to think. I need time to think. You're over cluttering comms, and right now that seems to be happening with Zainu as well.
Yeah, I mean, Sorcerer can be effective. We've seen that. Vax and Deeds and him on that Rock roster, they did really, really well. And I feel like Sorcerer has the potential, but you've got to figure out a way to have him feel comfortable. And this is where a lot of people, raise questions on, the combination between, Koifel and Zainu and the old iteration of Phony with that roster that actually won. Well, let's go back to the roster that we took to land and that didn't necessarily work out. And now they've got Sorcerer in here as well. To me, my calling is to Zainu, because I think if you think of Shopify Rebellion and you look at the 3 players on this roster, you think of Zainu. And what that means is if you're going to be great and you're going to have great success, you need to take the onus to do the hardest job, which might be, even though you can calm really well, to back off. Because Saucer playing at his best, Zap playing at his best in the fragging role, and you allowing yourself to be who you need to be for this team to win, to me is the most important thing. So for me, Jay, if this team fails, if it succeeds, it's not about whether Saucerer fits. I think it's if Zainu is able to be adaptable, because that's what I think the best player on our roster needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then on the flip side of that coin, I do want to call it to Saucer. I feel like he needs to, even though he's the new guy on the squad, he needs to take control of this team. You are the IGL. I think the one thing that stood out with the phony Koiful Zainu roster was, despite Koi and Zainu talking a lot, Phony knew when to call him out and say, guys, I have to be the one talking right now. I need you to cease comms, clear it, and just listen to me. I need Saucer to step up a lot more in that way. But on the same, like you said, Zainu also has to be willing to work with him in that. So it's kind of, I think both of them do. And honestly, Zap, he just needs to talk more. I don't feel like I hear enough Zap.
I agree with you, man. Zap, an underrated fragger in your eyes. Again, you got a team with LeBron. You're going to have him not have the ball as many times. I mean, I'm curious about that Philadelphia, as a Lakers guy, that Philadelphia experiment. Nobody can have the ball as much, but you have to do that if you want to win. So we'll find out how Zainu is able to approach this. 10th place, 17 points so far. What does this back half look like? Let's send it over to Vicky and Bravo as we turn over to Storm Point in game 4.
Amazing points, guys. I honestly, just looking at the way that the dynamic of this team breaks down, Bravo, we know that Shopify, this is a team, or rather, just looking at the way that they could try to combine how they've been able to perform, like, we know that this team has the potential to do it, but where is it? Like, where are these comms? We need to allow Saucer to really pop off.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's been the kind of the frustrating point for Shopify fans, right? And even you could say neutral fans who just want to see the best players do well. It's been a lot of questions of when for Shopify. It seems like so far today is not the day, but we should remember, Vicky, we got 3 more maps left, so really anything can happen from here.
Exactly. And as we transition onto Storm Point, we say hasta la vista to Seer. So a little bit more room to breathe when it comes to finding all these scans. Maybe perhaps we could welcome in a Bloodhound for some more information. We're going to have to find out, because we get to look at how the POI draft played out, Bravo.
Yeah, there's a few things to note up here. Of course, the first is going to be Shopify that we just talked about. They're going to have space up north. Of course, nobody taking Trident, so they'll have time to figure out exactly how they want to get into the map. Unsurprisingly, you're seeing even more prio for Cedo, Cascade, and Elrod here than maybe that you would, since the loot changes. One thing to note is a very late Stormcatcher, by the way. Headglytch gets it at 28th. At playoffs, it was an average of 5th, so pretty noteworthy there that Headglytch seems to get Stormcatcher as a freebie. They will be pretty central as well.
We're seeing a lot of that across both EMEA and Americas, though, as Headglytch get to walk away with that, at the very least, and seeing how these zone pools are looking like, too, because it caught a lot of these players off guard. If you look at the way that the zones played out on World's Edge, Shopify, the topic within our halftime, and seeing how they could try to make this comeback. This is a team on Storm Point for match day 1. They won game number 3 with 11 KP. That goes back to the conversation that we know that this team's got it in them, but maybe finding that comfortability with these different legend compositions depending on what map it is.
Yeah, that really is the question for them. And I think it's worth noting as well, when you talk about neighbors that they've got, one is going to be full 11 at Wall. Now, I have to mention full 11 is a team that, let me check exactly where they are. They're going to be tied for 5th right now in terms of overall standings, but they're down in 14th. And for me, I was a bit worried. They have one of the strongest, again, placement ratios over kill ratios. And I think in this meta, you can only depend on that so long. To their south, by the way, is going to be at DB. It's going to be Vision. It's going to be Zach Carter and Loader. So you can expect that they will be also on their horse, probably not running into each other, probably some mutual respect shown between these two as we take a look and dive right back into Storm Point here for match number 4.
Let's get it, guys. Game number 4 here on Storm Points. We've had 3 different winners across our first 3 games on World's Edge. Can it be 3 more different ones, or can a team get a back-to-back here, or at least 2 on the board within our 6-game series as we tune in to Brainrotting, the team that ended up winning game number 3 with 10 KP. We highlighted their rotation originally to get into that final zone positioning and also getting aggressive while they were at it, getting a lot of KP on the way, seeing how that's going to be able to persist here into match 4, but HUSS still lead the way, as we saw previously in that first place in the overall standings with 43 total points.
That's right. And if you're just joining us, by the way, first of all, welcome to Friday Night Apex. It's a nice new feature we've got. We're glad you've tuned in as we take a look. First of all, before we get into all that, I'll just talk about where we are headed here. We're going to be going north, and a lot of playable stuff here, of course, on the Zip build itself. You feel like this tends to go to what players kind of call no name / bunny slope. You think about cannon building, as well as all the way up kind of on on the top zip of the hill, so you're expecting to see a lot of teams grab every wall building immediately. Certainly will be kind of the biggest place, and the actual, of course, buildings within the top of the zip, as well as the cannon builds and the UAV build. Those are going to go pretty quick, Vicky.
And I think it's important to highlight on some of our favorite points here when it comes to the Bloodhound Bravo. We have 3 Bloodhounds in this lobby, so little by little, inching forward. We see 100 Thieves already take to the skies, as we see Jen holding onto the higher ground too before dropping down. Crazy Thieves now looking at Crowbuckle and company.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, this was going to be the prio building. I think a lot of people were probably thinking the same. The UAV build is going to be a little bit south for this pull. Instead, CRT wants the top of the zip.
We're trying to find themselves in this fight, in the isolated fight. It's a trade-off on both ends here, only leaving Phony alive, and he's got 2 seconds before he gets his next scan. No ultimate for him to rely on here. He gets that information, looking to see if he can get the res, because he hears a res coming in from the other side.
Yeah, as you say, the scan buys him just enough time, but Cersei blows the door wide open. That's going to be CRT out. They try to get there quick. By the way, that was CRT coming in from Zeus, excuse me. They tried to make a very fast rotate, and even though they're on the Bloodhound, they can't make it work, and now continued action here coming in from Headglytch now up against Buckle Boys.
It was a risky play nonetheless for exactly this reason. You're expecting a lot of these teams, as we've already seen on World's Edge, to go in for a quick rotate on where that zone pool was pulling towards, and Headglytch now showing their face here and trying to see if they could get the follow-up too. They get Jay knocked here at the same time, as it's a big pile-up over into that northern building for that information, because full 11 are right around the corner, so our free thinkers coming out on the tunnel side, and Buckle Boys counting their blessings to see if they can try to get a reset here coming out from the outskirts of wall.
And look at Darkspire. Darkspire's like, we want to be part of these buildings on the cannon, but we don't exactly have any real estate that we've purchased ourselves, so they might just have to nope out here to Big Rock. Actually, Buckle Boys is going to get the respawn there on Jay, so Team Darkspire just going to have to kind of skedaddle back down the hill closer towards No Name.
So you know what, if we have to take the ring console, we have it already, we will, but they're not going to be alone, because W Press are also looking for that information over by Cascade Falls, but this is the coexisting from building to building over by the gravity cannon that we're currently seeing as an overhead. You see Sentinels. Unreal Nightmare will be showing their face coming outside of Command Center. And on the other side of Sentinels, Forge Wolves, who are playing on the choke that would lead from where Shopify Rebellion will rotate from, coming out of Northpad Team Vision 2, taking their time, where they will have a survey beacon and a ring console at checkpoint.
It's a brave choke to play. I think maybe you and I are thinking the same thing, that it's kind of
too early.
Yeah, too early. It's similar to the World's Edge choke. Like, that's a great place to be, but you've got Shopify to your back, full 11 to your north, and both Sentinels and Storm right next door. That doesn't even mention everyone who's behind them and wants to mirror those movements. So that will be a little bit difficult for them as we check in for a brief moment of quiet with W Press here at Cascade.
Calm before the storm too, and just trying to get the information. We saw that W Press was in the horizon of where Team Darkspire is. They're going to be a little bit split up, because AG Global were also on the outskirts now, playing off the no-name lot that is to the south of where the mobile respawn beacon is when you leave out of Cascade Falls. But Sesame Oil too, another team that has to traverse through so much space, now finding themselves in Cedo. Brainrotting, getting that survey beacon will let them know where Sesame Oil is once they trail up from behind them, where they could then get another survey beacon at Cedo. So a lot of just side quest action happening for these teams that like to take their time to rotate into that next zone.
That's right. Interestingly, AG Global, by the way, is the only baby comp team, and not just the only true baby comp team, but the only kind of anyone running Newcastle, Valk, or Gibby really in any configuration, which is very rare. If you have one, you probably have someone running some, of course, Gibby, Newcastle, or Valk variant. Not the case at all. And keep in mind, they are running baby comp in a lobby with 16 Maggies, so we'll see how well this goes for them.
A lot of Maggies and a lot of Watsons. Literally tied between Mad Maggie and Watson, 16 apiece, with Wraith coming right behind him with 11 Wraiths in this lobby. Top out for these rotates here. GK, though, after going down early, looking to make a comeback here. They're sitting in 18th with 6 points. This is just not the GK that I know, especially after seeing the highlights from floating in last week.
Exactly. Keep in mind, GK, like you said, winning the entire day, and they are tied for 3rd overall in the split. So they are another team that I think we want to correctly call out, because we're now expecting very big things from them, but they will need to turn it around here on the Storm Point side of the set.
More teams now splitting up the way that they're going to go into the outskirts of the zone. DINOS being one of them. They took the gravity cannon, now looking from right below their feet, though. Chaos up on the high ground with that G7 scout. Not going to be able to hit anything for right now, but it's also just showing face and pressure for the team who will be forced to go onto the low ground, maybe take the rotate over to the right side. But then you see another team with a zip line being set up to go for an even further rotation. That's going to be Team Liquid, who managed to go on the other side of that zip, where they will be able to get information from Zoo Station 2, but it's going to be hard for them to get into that next zone, because if it's not going to be Dinos looking at them, it's going to be free thinkers.
Also, look at the routing of HUSS. HUSS is going to come all the way up from East Trail as well. So I tell you what, Liquid does not want to have to fight this. Keep in mind, they will be able to, likely, of course, they have a balloon option out. They could just play outside with their backs clear, maybe at the north side of wall. They're going to have options where Liquid, and HUSS is just going to also be able to play from here and play down from Stormcatcher. So once again, unsurprisingly, as we get to Storm Point, just like we saw in EMEA, a lot of teams opting for mid speed, and it's not that surprising, Vicky, when you think of this zone being essentially all of Bunny Slope and Zip. Not a lot of playable space as we look at the close as well.
Yeah, like you're working off the rocks for some extra makeshift cover, right? Right on the south side of Unreal Nightmare, where they'll have that slight high ground advantage, as well as Headglytch too on that northern building that we saw them survive the onslaught of pressure, make the reset happen. Vocal Boys were trying to count their blessings, and they're still alive in this lobby. Sentinels, who have been inside this building for so long, have painted the floor with these Watson fences. A Wraith portal in the distance here too. Makes you wonder what's going on here. As Stormer back to a 4-3 man, but with now just a solo left in this lobby. They try to get the res. They see the oppression from Sentinels, from Blink himself. Kenzo has just accepted fate as he is getting escorted back to the lobby. He just stood there and took it.
Accepting fate is the only way to put it. I think it maybe even caught Sentinels off guard as they're like, okay, he's just AFK, and I think we're going to be able to close this one out.
Stared at him.
Yeah, and Sentinels will be able to reclaim UAV build. So keep in mind, not only does Sentinels have UAV build here, also the building that they were in earlier is just to the south, the non-UAV build, if you will. That one is clear for the moment too. We'll see if they try to split these two, or if, like, I mean, Blink certainly would have the room to be able to split hold these two if they want to, or maybe they'll just kind of cozy up and rely on the Watson fences here.
See, because they know that other teams could perhaps try to take that roof for that survey beacon, but as you already mentioned, like, they have the entire other building painted with the Watson fences, so if another team shows up there, they will have to think about a team that could destroy those Watson fences revealing themselves. But why don't we take a look at BRAINROTTING, jump into a listen to see how they plan their next move into this next raid.
Alright, we have to walk in. Spiders look good. We can wait for a minute 30 here for Zen. No one's gonna take spiders.
Yeah. You wanna work for your thing real quick then?
What's a Eva? Wait,
oh, no, I'm outside. I'm outside. They bought on outside. Window. I think. I'm dead on. I'm in. Watch the window. There's some damage. Go damage. Let us spike. Knock on me. I'm to the right. Okay, go down the other side pouch.
They're gonna probably take it or chase.
I'm portal. Flooding. You gotta run.
Okay. Fence the portal.
Axe are queuing. Axe ulting you. Axe alone here, swinging hard.
I'm trying. I can see him.
Blood on here. Go face. Go. You gotta go. Blood on. Can. Go. You can come back and down with us. You have craft there. Yeah.
With the comms of BRAINROTTING, talk about timing, thinking that they were going to be left alone and had no idea HUSS has been spending so much time in the ring trailing behind them.
You and I were talking about it backstage, if you will, just watching us. And I love how the comms, first of all, they're just laughing and having a good time. And they're like, we could just wrap spiders. Nobody will be there. And all of a sudden, HUSS just jumps on the 3v1 team shot. Like you said, forces them all the way down. BRAINROTTING will have to reset all the way down, almost at launch pad, by the way, at the moment as we jump back on board with Team Vision.
Talk about the Apex experience, or maybe Halloween came a little early. Sometimes I forget that Apex is not a horror game, because sometimes things like that will scare me, but Team Vision, look at his scare with the team that's waiting on this choke. Just waiting for Team Vision to move up. By the way, that's still Forge Wolves, who have not left from this side from the very beginning.
Look at the lone Watson fence holding off like a 4-foot space next to the rock, just giving them
with a thread.
Look at that. That is a convincing little Watson fence that just says, hey, we are here next to this tree. We are here. But I tell you what, as you said, I think the one thing to point out really quickly, as it's actually going to be Shopify noping out of that battle for a second, is once again, we go back to the same topic. If you looked at what BRAINROTTING was expecting, in a normal game, nobody would be around them. But when teams have less loot and they're playing slower, as now AG Global tries to get back into wall and they want to see maybe what's available, they're going to try to take this from Buckle Boys if they can, maybe even just try to play a really makeshift spot along these rocks. We'll get back to that conversation in a second. Let's see if AG can play this out.
Was it worth it, though? Was it worth it to take to the skies to find yourself on the edge of where that next zone pool is? Because now everybody is looking at AG Global. At least they found themselves with a dome in hand, so that way they can try to get that reset, pop those shield bats too, but the pressure is not over. You talk about that lone Watson fence, it looked like just one piece of duct tape to hold them back, and it wasn't going to be enough to break through the chains, because Zainu also now gets knocked. ShopifyRebellion, the team that we were highlighting so much in the halftime show, knowing what this team could do, have to iron out these communication kinks with 18 squads still left, looking to see if they can try to get this reset. HUSS being another one to get so aggressive, still leading the way in the overall standings.
Yeah, it's HUSS, Sesame Oil, and Shopify that's still below Geekay and Vision, and Forge Wolves is on top of all of that. So this is getting really crowded in this kind of no-name area of Bunny Slope just below the UAV build, as the zone, by the way, of course, is pulling directly onto the actual zip itself. This is really getting crowded here on the southern side.
Oh no, that's diabolical, but you know what? Sentinels have called out this zone so well because they stayed in that building that you had mentioned, Bravo. They did not leave to go to the southern building because they didn't need to. They saw the zone pool and have called this so well because at least they're in the building that a lot of teams are going to be forced out into the open, and it's just free pickings for them. Vision Carter picks up Zap and takes the finishing blow on top of it, while BRAINROTTING looking to see if they can try to fully get all three members up here with Rosie going down.
By the way, BRAINROTTING came all the way in, as I mentioned, almost triple reset, by the way, all the way down from almost launch pad. So the way that they have forced themselves into essentially these cannon build and this cannon platform is really remarkable here, as once again, this is going to be two separate battles happening. You can think of it this way. Cannon is one separate battle, and then up north, the edge of wall, the southern tip of wall, is a whole separate battle, and even then a smaller one happening just right here at Spiders at the edge of command.
HUSS is everywhere. They are everywhere here. They come up from the hillside top. While DINOS do get the respawn onto Chaos, HUSS themselves have cleared up the southeastern side of the zone, but they're not into that next zone just yet. They have to inch forward because Unreal Nightmare and WPress are fighting in command center closer to the bunker door, so they obviously have heard that, but it's about all the information that they can get because they know about the pileup happening from the lot that they just got away from.
And like you said, it's HUSS in the end that gets Spiders, even though we thought BRAINROTTING themselves thought it would be them holding now. It's going to be Drill coming out from Q's here. That's going to buy him at least the ability to cross and now be able to hold out, ideally if they can, the edge of command. That's WPress inside. Keep in mind, HUSS is still just outside of Spiders, and whatever happens on that command doorway, they will have eyes onto.
AG Global 2. Find a pick off here. Yanya just trying to finish off this knockdown player before this dome goes down. Needs a little bit of help here before sliding down because they're still playing off that low ground with Free Thinkers. Now down to a duo. Buckle Boys still alive as a full three-man, but just waiting by the fence line. They clean up that last player from Free Thinkers, and Blinker is going to be able to get a knock with the Kraber in hand.
As you said, Free Thinkers now going down, and teams slowly starting to inch closer and closer.
Blink out here with the double knock, the double evac too, just so you can get the slice mix up here. Team Vision now take to the skies, taking a little bit of rain damage by little. I say, ooh, this is so difficult. They called in 3 because 2 just was not enough, Bravo.
This is the ultimate schmix up there. Everyone gets their own evac. These boys are rich. I ain't never seen something like this.
We're rich, hooray! Team Vision now looking to position themselves and looking at the team that was trying to harass them after taking the evac tower. They look to their backs, but after taking a huge chunk of that damage from the ring, they will be able to reset here. See Zach fully up to health here, looking at the team right to their left. HUSS to get eliminated, by the way, on their way up towards the hill. They get taken out. Unreal Nightmare, Headglytch, neighboring that, especially with that one last straggler of DINOS, and Team Liquid now. They get the knock onto Cersei. AG Global also get eliminated. Team Liquid looking to clean up even more.
Really nicely done, as you said. They want even more. That will be Buckle Boys going down as well, as we're now into our top 9. By the way, this was Liquid that we said got forced all the way back to Zeus. They had to go ahead and balloon all the way down. They've made it into your top 10. We'll see what they can do from here.
President was cooking for a moment, and so was Blinkster, though. He is fully in the kitchen alongside Monsoon. Team Vision slide in. They're taking pickings at whatever they can find that has already been weakened, as another Kraber knock comes in at the hands of Blinkster.
Credit to the observers. They knew exactly when the blink shot was going to come in. They cut away. They knew to come back in time as well. And like you said, Sentinels still holding the bottom of UAV build, and now they can even play the headies that are right along kind of the zip.
And they're also fixated on trying to take this fight and clearing up the space. It's like the Team Vision versus Team Liquid stand up here, and Blinkster just standing out literally in the open, but he is the right. Oh, he misses out on the jump and the climb though. As we just saw this a little earlier, but DJ's kind of been a solo for quite some time. It's just that nobody has seen him because he's right next to Unreal Nightmare to their right. Thankfully, Seer is banned, so they don't know he's right there as long as he doesn't move.
I was going to say, Unreal Nightmare does not have any intel. Of course, it's going to be a Wraith, Maggie, Watson as the most of the lobby is, so DJ's just going to be able to hold this out, and he's going to have an evac too, if and when he wants. Unreal Nightmare, though, challenging Team Liquid here.
It seems like they try to press them since we're on that slight low ground too. Unreal Nightmare moving deeper into the zone, calling off quits from trying to take that fight versus Team Liquid. Sentinels that move on over to the left side of this zone, looking down at Team Vision. Vision may actually find themselves pinched, but it's a fight between the rocks as the zone closes in right behind Sentinels' backs. They gave up the space here looking at Unreal Nightmare, and they know that it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to rotate, but they expended the portal, and now they've expended Monsoon. Fun is going to probably meet him right back on the ground, go back to the lobby here, and Blinkster is going to have to play out as a miracle. Oh my god! Hold on! Dude, Blinkster with the Kraber? Somebody check him, because he's insane. Yes, they knocked him out. They took him out of the lobby, but he was landing those shots, and he had infinite ammo. So take that threat out of the lobby. Team Liquid now, King of the Hill, looking down at Unreal Nightmare and Team Vision.
Yeah, Blink unsurprisingly going down with a fight, hitting the 150 from the hip on the way out. Now, as you said, Team Liquid on the north, Team Vision on the west, and Unreal Nightmare playing pretty central just off of the kind of that zip platform. These are your final three.
Come before the storm, while all three teams, their backs against the ring, will slowly inch forward in the next 40 seconds unless Zach picking up Blinkster's Kraber. Thank you very much. Infinite ammo. We'll absolutely take those in a BOGO deal, but can he get the same type of shots that we saw from Blinkster is another question.
Only one Wraith, by the way. Going to be Unreal Nightmare on the Wraith, which makes this end game pretty interesting. Both Liquid and Vision will be on the path. Watson, Maggie. Of course, we could see a lot happening here with maybe a few zips up, and specifically a well-timed portal could really change the way that this endgame plays.
Not on the fact that you only have that one Wraith, as you already mentioned. We do see that missed out shot from Zach, making a second one. I mean, there is that Newcastle wall that we know Team Liquid is hiding right behind until eventually one will hit a 120. They take the zip. They actually try to extend on this, and Unreal Nightmare just steal this KP away from Team Vision. They see Liquid move up, and now that is the cue for Vision to move in. Team Liquid get eliminated. Unreal Nightmare gets to pick up some of those here too, while Vision only got panic at the same time. The Wrecking Ball though goes forward. Zach Major gets taken out. Loader was out of the fight temporarily. He gets the crack. Can he get the knock? No, he can't, because they wrap up from right behind him. Unreal Nightmare, as a healthy three-man, have the advantage here, and they're looking to fully send it. Oh, and they finally get it. Carter was just literally climbing like a Spider-Man, thinking to see if he could get out of their line of sight, but it was just a matter of time as we let the calmness of the battle phase out. Bravo and Unreal Nightmare, they are your match 4 winners.
The artist formerly known as Flat, Big Louie, Nano, and Qzier, as you said, the big performance there. And to be honest, when we saw Zach hitting the Kraber opener, that gave Unreal Nightmare the go-ahead to push on Liquid. To be honest, it looked initially like they would just be playing there for second, right, to be able to get the KP on Liquid, close it out. But like you said, I'm going to have to watch that VOD back as well, just because the way that they were able to hold off that pressure in the end from Vision, very impressive in the end. They put up an important result on the board. And I'll tell you what, for Unreal Nightmare, it's a particularly important result. They came into the day in 27th, way down at the bottom of the table. They needed a big day today, and that first place is going to help them get some points on the board.
Especially when they were able to get it with the 9 KP. Vision in that second place with 10 KP, but not splitting that when it came to DINOS, who unfortunately has a solo for quite some time, had to try to survive. But you get the placement points, which is what matters here. And then you look at the opposite end here. Crazy Thieves being that first team to go, as Shopify also going out in 18th place, and we only have 2 more games to go on Stormboard before we wrap up the day, Bravo.
I'll tell you what, sometimes when you're in an endgame like that, if you have someone with a Wraith Q and the other 2 teams don't have a Wraith Q, it can really change the way you are able to position around, especially a wide open endgame like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the standings so far.
Seeing how everything's been played out so far with Team Vision leading the pack by a single point. They've caught up, but it's been by a single point, and that was with Vision, by the way, starting up the day very strong. They took the first game with 3 KP. Sure, it wasn't a lot, but this is what set them up to contain themselves and get this first place, even after getting second place for our last game. But I want to bring back in Rain Day to break down a lot of the action. I know you and Jayhawk were able to watch a lot of the game.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It was a good one. I mean, Unreal Nightmare grabbed the win there, Jayhawk, and a team that came into this sitting in, I think it was 27th position with 5 points. Well, if they were to end the day today at the position they're in, they would earn 16 points off this match performance, and that would put them into a really nice spot in the middle of Americas heading into it with still many match days left to play. But, you know, they get this win. Is this a sign of things to come? What went right for them? Why is Nano and Squad finally finding their rhythm here in match day 4?
I think this goes to show the strength of their POI draft. They were one of the only teams that were able to select Stormpoint in the first round. There was only 3 others. So you can see only 4 squads using a first round pick on Stormpoint. That got them Pylon, which is one of the best POIs on this map, especially since the removal of Tridents. You're much more center, you can rotate quickly, and you've got some great loot. That POI allowed for them to rotate all the way up, hold command center, they hold their back, and that position is pretty much what gave them the win. And so I'm truly believing that maybe this could be a sign of things to come for these next few games, because Pylon is such a strong pick that with a win here to start off, maybe this could be the turn of the tides for them in this set.
I mean, it's not too unrealistic to think that another big win might put them in contention in Game 6 to actually have a chance to win the entire day. And now we're talking once you get to that kind of position. But, you know, Team Vision and Liquid, they were also in this one. You know, kind of boiled down to Liquid kind of fighting with 2 most of the time towards the end of this. But Team Vision certainly felt like, to me, they had a chance.
Yeah, the definition of consistency. We talked about them earlier. These guys were incredible in Paris, and they've been incredible in Pro League so far, and they're continuing it today. It feels like even when the zones are pulling away from them, they're finding ways to get KP. This game was a little bit different. They were just able to play the positioning that they had early, but I just think it goes to show the flexibility this squad has. Whether the zone comes to them or not, they can make it work regardless. They're getting points, and they're going to challenge for the win every time.
And I keep bringing up the fact that we're going into the halfway point, but you know, the fact that these guys still have a lot to prove, I feel like that helps them. And I think when you go into a situation with adversity and a chip on your shoulder, you start to find this momentum, and it feels like you're actually doing it. You're pushing the block off, the stone up the hill. And even though Sisyphus knows it's going to roll back down, in some ways, I'm sure when he's starting up, he's thinking, hey, I'm making some progress here. The question is, again, can they turn this into a legitimate, consistent performance? We know Vision can. We still have a little bit of questions for Liquid, but Unreal Nightmare, I guess we have to pay attention to them, Jayhawk, for these next few games.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure they were able to win a match day last split. They were able to qualify for Paris, so this is not a team that you can count out by any means.
All right, guys, let's send it over to our casters here. I think it's actually going to be Vicky and Brav to go into this one. Actually, I might be. Am I casting? It's me and Brav. Never mind. All right, I'm throwing it myself here. Jayhawk, take it easy. Let's bring Brav back into the mix. All right, I'm so used to doing throws, man. I mean, it's, you know, at the end of the day, I'm happy to be here with you. How are we feeling?
Feeling great, to be honest. Once again, I think the Americas is delivering, and to be honest, a lot of that has come down to certain teams showing up in a big way today, as well as just the ban order once again providing a lot of surprises and just a very different set of maps that we've seen. If you took now about a Watson ban coming in, that's not surprising given what we just saw. Keep in mind, in that last game, you had all sorts of kind of action throughout the entire series, and Watson being a big part of that game as well, as we get ready to now get into this next game. And looking ahead, just getting ready to see how that might impact the rest of the series. And I think the one thing to look at is which teams are going to step up here. Now with only 2 games left, I think there's even more pressure on them here.
Yeah, that's a great point here. You know, you have these 2 days that you're going to play after this, but today, if you could have a chance to be in match 4 and go into match 5 now with maybe 1 game away to kind of put you into a top 3 conversation, you cannot pass that up. And speaking of these legend compositions too, I mean, you've seen the Mad Maggie, the Watson, the Wraith really come into the conversation in a bigger way. But I also am kind of turning my attention towards, you know, the Valkyrie, because we've seen this used so little. And after the nerfs, I'm surprised we're actually seeing it a bit. You know, when Valkyrie kind of comes into the moment, usually she's pretty oppressive. She's pretty used, especially on Stormpoint, but to see her only 5% of the time, I feel like that's just a sign that those nerfs that we just saw in this patch really did have an impact on a character that really should be thriving on any map. It should be this map.
Certainly, yeah, and I think, of course, a lot of that, too, is now having Maggie still in the game here and everyone kind of just kind of tiptoeing away and not wanting to. You saw AGG kind of bravely running Baby Comp in that game when we had 17, I think the exact number was, Maggie's. So just like a lot of Maggie pressure that can come your way. Now, don't get me wrong, you can Baby Comp your way through a Maggie lobby, but that is one of the taller tasks in the current meta of Apex Legends.
Absolutely. And, you know, Brav, I mean, just obviously, you know, this is a good point here to talk about it, but we might end up making a couple of adjustments here heading into Storm Point. And in fact, I think we're going to bring in Jayhawk for a moment to get his thoughts as we head into Game 5, because a lot of storylines to be set up here going into our final 2 games.
Hey, Brav.
Jayhawk, you got me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's get into this here. Tell me what you're expecting to see. I think, like, as I was just alluding to, the fact that we just had, by the way, we hadn't, I don't think, mentioned it per se on the broadcast, the fact that we had just had a tie, actually, in kind of the count that we just saw, I believe, between, if I'm not mistaken, yes, Maggie and Watson tied at 16. Of course, that ban going to Watson keeps Maggie in this game, and it might impact just how much Baby Comp, of course, we see in this last game.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm actually taking a peek at some of the comps we already have. I think I saw 3 Caustics, which we talked about. Not a very popular pick in North America, so I'm wondering if the tides are shifting a little bit. But the Baby Comp, actually, I'm not seeing a ton of Baby Comp either. It seems like maybe not as popular, especially considering the Maggie is still playing.
Yeah, exactly. There's only going to be one. I wouldn't be surprised if that was AGG trying to run it again, but this is exciting because you and I have been watching comps and legend ban orders all week, not only last weekend through the 3 days, but specifically how things have lasted through the kind of scrim week as well. And this is a pretty big outlier. So that's actually going to keep things, especially for the Americas, in a Game 5. And as we start here with Unreal Nightmare at Pylon, as we mentioned after that last game win, that's going to keep things in the Americas in a Game 5 pretty interesting because you have quite a few unique comps, and the most common actually going to be a Cat Maggie Wraith here, but only 6 of them, so quite a lot of legend variety in game number 5.
Yeah, I was listening in to BRAINROTTING last game, and they ran upon AG and saw that they were running the Baby Comp last game, and their direct words were, "I hate the people play differently than scrims. Nobody runs Baby Comp at this point in our scrimmage games." So the comp diversity, I think, is an interesting point, just for that simple fact that it seems like maybe teams are having some pocket strats, don't want to reveal everything until the game day.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we should talk about as we take a look at exactly where we're pulling here, it's going to, of course, be just between right now Cedo as well as Barrow North and the edge of Jurassic, where everything will be headed. And if you talk about the playables there, I think a lot of people will have their eyes set on kind of the pixel build that's just outside kind of that southeastern side of Cedo, without a doubt.
Yeah, these zones, the position that FWG is in, usually pretty powerful for the late game. It seems like we've already got some early fighting going on, and looking at the teams, looks like we might have Storm, Sentinels nearby, some teams that are not afraid to int these teams inside a zone, so nobody's safe already.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, these builds going right away. You can imagine that all of Cedo will get grabbed right away, and really any kind of real estate that you can get around here, even the tree that's going to be along that cliffside, it's going to be a pretty popular space. And you think of just Cedo as an endgame POI, this is not like some others, right? You think about how many playable buildings there might be in a place like Barrow or other parts of the map, and this is going to be an exception, right? There's not going to be a ton of places to play, and it's not surprising that a lot of teams, anyone that was nearby in Central, is trying to get in right now. The stick comes through though, and Monsoon's in trouble, and he knows it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the stick with the arcs are able to get that early knock, but I think that the Wraith portal placed in good enough time to get him out. Question is, can Crook get the kidnap? Gonna be some cruel justice. We go over to the north side of the map, though, over at Lightning Rod, and DINOS able to eliminate Free Thinkers, a couple of our more chaotic teams, and DINOS are able to get the win. And right now, Bravo, they're sitting in 3rd place, not too far behind Vision and HUSS. They're trying to challenge potentially for this match day like they did last weekend.
Yeah, and especially with 2 games left as well, I think there's a lot to be said here. Keep in mind, DINOS in 15th coming into the day. However, they did have a 3rd place last match day. That tells you just how rough their first match day was, down in 17th. But we'll keep an eye on them. As you said, DINOS and Free Thinkers near one another was always going to be an interesting fight. This time it's DINOS that wins it out. And I want to say thanks to Jayhawk for joining us here for the opening. Rain Day, I think we can check in now with Sentinels here at Cedo, and it's going to be a little bit busy for the entire game for them.
It certainly is. Big thanks to Jayhawk as well, as we kind of got some of those things solved on our end. Appreciate the patience, and obviously always great to hear more Jayhawk on an ALGS broadcast. Sentinels in a good spot, but kind of a hard spot here. 2 knockdown shields, going to try to survive yet again. It's been a couple of rough games for them, although they have found their way through harder straights, but this won't be one of them. They'll go out 31 points. Yeah, Storm Point has not been kind of their map right now, so they'll have one more opportunity to do so in game 6, but a bit disappointing if you're Sentinels. 19th squad out of 20 that have gone out, and now obviously this is going to set up for Storm to continue moving on. You know, they played spoiler, but now they finally have a 3 instead of a 2, so full squad's back together.
Yeah, by the way, 12 Maggies in this game, so you're going to see a lot of that. Keep in mind, at Cedo, those buildings are not big. It's very difficult. Unless you're at a pixel building where you can go way up on the opposite caddy corner, where you can avoid those drills, and those types of buildings, they're so easy to drill, and I think you're going to see time and time again as teams are just absolutely under a lot of pressure. But speaking of a team that's not under a lot of pressure, that's going to be Unreal Nightmare. They are going to be taking their time here at Barrow. It's a pretty wide rotate. As we had mentioned, this was your pylon team. They are taking their time right now. I wouldn't quite call it edge because they're just at the edge of the next zone, but they certainly have enough space to play with.
Yeah, I really like the way that they've approached this. To me, they're a team that's kind of made me talk about them. I don't think they came in here at the top of the headlines for anybody coming into Apex this season, even though they've got a match day win prior, and they've been able to get, a match win in a prior day. I feel like this is just a squad that now has played a little gritty, and I like teams that play gritty. I especially like, when you come in 5 points and you're saying this is our moment to make the switch. It certainly is. You have to think of this like we're getting to the halfway of the season, even though it's our second weekend. And the benefit, Brav, is that a team like that has the ability to turn things around very quickly because of these 3 days back to back to back. So capitalizing on some momentum, Unreal Nightmare, game 5, it would be huge if they could continue that up. But of course, they've got a lot of teams in their way who are trying to do the exact same thing. And speaking of 2, we've talked about DINOS sitting in 3rd against ShopifyRebellion, trying to make a rotate around them. And Saucer guiding that team in the new IGL position, trying to find some success here in game 5.
Yeah, and then this is a big moment in game 5. We're deep in this series, and when you talk about the 2 teams here, as we already talked about, Shopify in 20th on the split, Dinos in 15th, and you really can't afford to be putting, we're already, like we said, now officially with this match day underway, already past 1/3 of the way through the split. You can kind of tell. I wouldn't be surprised if teams are pretty cautious in terms of taking opening battles unless you are sure. By the way, I do want to mention CRT's comp here. They will have Koi on the Axel, Jen on the Cat, and Phony on the Hound. Now, that's particularly noteworthy because they're not running the Maggie or the Wraith here, and that just tells you how this ban order has impacted the variety in the Americas in game number 5.
Yeah, I think it's 2 things, right? For Koi, he's comfortable, and I think we've seen that as well with Jelly. I think if you know and how to use Axel and you get really used to that character, there's been a lot of good reason prior to the nerfs to do so. Maybe the nerfs don't dissuade you from it now, but the other thing about it is that Storm Point requires movement in some form or fashion, or some ability to delay when you're out in open space. And Koiful is gone with Axel, which Nitro Gates are still a great way to move your your legends. You may not see Valkyries as much, and we mentioned that 5% pick rate, but the Axel, a great other direction on how to get people into the places that they need to be, especially if you want to be aggressive and you have a player who is as good as Koiful at getting aggressive. So still excited to see this lineup, but kind of holding tight, kind of holding position here for them. 24 points, sitting in 10th. Again, a lot of teams, Brav, kind of balancing here between whether they're going to have a really good day or whether it's kind of going to, fall by the wayside, not really be much of a talking point.
Yeah, and CRT actually has to nope out of this. They're going to go ahead and go north towards Triton. That was a battle between Team Vision, and by the way, we're getting kind of gifted to a lot of very different 3v3 comps. That's Vision on a Fuse Path Rampart up against an Axel Bloodhound Cat. So you're starting to see, with the way that this ban order went, some pretty unique and very different 3v3s, and I'm not surprised CRT decides they will go north over to Triton. They'll kind of edge, by the way, towards Shopify, soon to both be at Cascade. Vision's now going to have free reign of checkpoint. They will be making a southern rotation.
And I think as an IGL, this is where you make your money, because, you know, you have to know with the limited choices you have, with the meta kind of disintegrating, and, you know, you have aggressive options, but you also have defensive options. You could see a full baby comp being played by All Gamers Global in 9th place, right? You can go that direction, or you could say, hey, maybe we don't have Maggie, but let's add Fuse in there. Maybe we don't have the ability to have the same type of rotation we would have wanted, but let's add a Pathfinder here. Rampart, I like the way that she's been buffed. People trying to see if she can work. I mean, I think this is where really confidence comes in, but also innovation. And so, you know, Crazy Thieves going with maybe more of a standard kind of switch up approach. For the first time though, I really feel like Fuse has caught my eye a lot as an alternative to Maggie here in this current meta, because I think he brings some of that same oppressiveness. And when you don't have teams running baby comps, you know, we only have one here, I think it's going to be really, really good.
Certainly, it's worth noting there are 3 fuses in this lobby, same amount as the Bloodhounds. And overall, we should mention, Bloodhound has been ran earlier today in the Americas than was usual. It was kind of more of a Game 6 play. However, already in Games 4 and 5, we are seeing a few. And speaking of, here comes CRT trying to make a push.
We knew floating was going to be a part of a great team, and Geekay Esports seems to be the team as they get pushed off that ledge that he wanted to be a part of. It also feels to me a little sad that Keon's not a part of this as well, and I think that, you know, we're going to have to wait and see how this synergy works. We know Dropped and Knocked, that's a duo that stay together, loves to play together. What can they build off of that though? ShopifyRebellion finds one down, and they're at the bottom end of this. On the other side, Crazy Thieves holding height, still trying to find a little bit of, I guess, a moment to kind of take advantage of the engagements that they're in. Right now, they haven't really fought and they haven't really disengaged, and now it means that the fight's coming to them as Unreal Nightmare eliminated, but Deeds, Jelly finding a couple kills there in the backside, and DINOS pushing CRT almost off that ledge completely.
CRT will go down, as you say, and DINOS just absolutely jumps on that. It was always going to be a bit too busy in this part of the map as J Future's going to try to drop, and it's Liquid who wants a piece of this as well.
And this is where I think the Fuse can start to pay off, because you can pressure this better than almost any other composition. You're going to see those knuckle clusters, kind of an unfortunate miss there. Panic, we all do it here and there. He takes a little bit of damage from his own ability, but then he'll back it up with a shield battery. But that shield, almost not having a chance to get back up because the grenade comes in. Now they're in trouble. Oh my goodness, those grenades have put them in trouble. And Panic goes down, and it's Mellow on the other side. Headglytch doing just that, and they end Team Liquid's chances. Oh my goodness.
Do not, somehow they managed to take down Team Liquid, but while you're doing that, do not face Cedo at all, because you get every single team that's looking from Cedo to Waterfall to look straight at you. And my God, was this ever an absolute mess. To be completely honest, this area here just at the top of the waterhole above Spiders isn't always this packed on this exact end zone, but it just ended up being a huge crunch point for so many of these teams. And as we saw earlier, Jayhawk mentioning there were a few caustics in this game as well, 3 of them. So certainly the most that we've seen, as Caustic seems kind of right now not fitting too many places in the meta, but in game 5 we see 3 of them still in play.
Yeah, I mean, talk about, you know, just a crunchy position, all natural. There's nothing more all natural in Apex than having a grenade come out of nowhere and just basically end your day. That's exactly what we got to see there on the side of Team Liquid. I was praising the Fuse, but, you know, it actually is interesting that Knuckle Cluster missed, because it does do a little bit of damage to Panic. It does kind of throw them off. The little things do sometimes just kind of make you misstep, and then all of a sudden you're in an awkward back and forth that you can't ever feel like you find your footing in. And so something to look at as well is that young team, you know, Zero's team now in Liquid. That future looks very bright for them, but still trying to figure out how exactly to put all those puzzle pieces together. And not much to decide there when a Creeper ends the life of Jelly. HUSS forced to retreat, or maybe they're just too into it now and Deeds has to kind of go forward.
Well, they're going to have to really hope that things go their way here, as you're going to see Deeds maybe gets this bat off as well, just trying to hug, and it's going to actually be Forged Wolves, the one that's pressuring them. Dupe is able to reset as well.
They can win this.
Can't get Jelly up. Now here comes the pressure from Forged Wolves.
Yeah, I think actually the weird part about it is just all the blues and the fact that they had a couple of Headglytches. They were able to defend one big shot, kind of almost puts them on no armor, and so I think that was the smarter move from Forged Wolves. They do find a shot to take a chance, but I think it's smart just to stay alive here. You're top 13, and on the other side, DINOS lost J Future, but have the chance to get him to the beacon. But Chaos Feelings going down, it might be the end for them, as they're just trying to find just a bit of respite, anything. It feels like nonstop action, Bravo. And it continues, is floating on GK Esports, finds the kill. They've been playing the low ground this entire time, but another duo with dropped down, trying to make the best of not a great situation.
Jelly is able to get up in the end as he's going to now try to get over. Deed's also going to be ripping an ult Excel just to make sure that he can provide a little bit of an opportunity out. When you think about them being on the cat axle, certainly they will have opportunities and ways out of this, but right now trapped on this side of the fence, the shot from the Kraber from Deeds just misses by a hair.
Sesame on the other side of this. Big question on kind of when do they see the right time to move forward. This is a great fight. I want to see how Jelly performs. He's on the axle. Will they get aggressive? Let's listen in and find out.
Rip it early. Yeah, rip it. Yeah. Go.
Bro. Oh my god, I'm blocked.
Careful, dude.
I'm coming. Crack.
Slide on him.
Slide on them.
Careful. We can play it.
Shit on them.
Nice. Heal.
Catwalk. If we get pushed.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Full heal. Just catwalk
150 on the right.
Nice. I'm coming.
I'm good. I got the space back. We're good. I can't spike it.
We're good. Yes. I'm fit.
They're full armor.
Save your catwalk.
Come to me. I've got this.
Breaking their doors. Break their doors if you have hemlock.
Grab a nade.
That's right. It's a Maggie raid.
I think we do it on me.
Yeah, come. I'm ripping a pad early, so we have another one.
Yeah, come here, dudes. You ready?
I can look for a Kraber shot.
I don't know what we're going to call this, but we got to name it something. Bloodhound goes to the ultimate, throws the Invis Brav, and then Axel slides away on the Nitro gate. Nitro Invis here is the plan for HUSS, and they look to maybe try to do it again as another big headshot from Deeds, and they take the gates in.
Let's see if they can make this push happen. As you saw, that was the opener. Scan will go down as well. They're going to have to take a extra second and maybe take some damage. The reinforced door really paying dividends. The wall will go down, though, so they're going to see as the first knocks will come in. That'll be at least 2 players here on Forged Wolves inside. They're in a lot of trouble. Soon they will also have, of course, keep in mind another scan that will be able to reset once again.
And this is kind of what they wanted, but the problem is you see Riley McKinnick in January ready to play spoiler here. And GK Esports knocked. He knows exactly what they're trying to do. That catalyst door made all the difference. The road less traveled by. I wish you read some Robert Frost before this one, because you can see it's just not going to be enough time. Jelly backs around, and now they're going to play into zone. He's got to play his life, and now there's just no life to play. It's going to be the end of HUSS. Almost certainly here is Duplex just narrowly making it out for a moment, maybe hoping for somebody to take their eyes off them, but with team vision just kind of waiting in the wings, you feel like it's just a moment before Loader with that bow. A little Legolas cosplay there. He's ready to follow up.
Forged Wolves, as you say, holding that build that they've been in for the entire game. Keep in mind, they've been Wraith TPing in and out to challenge the fence line. We saw that already from HUSS's POV, but as you say, that reinforced door at the end to try to wrap that side, the Cedo side of that door, it would take so much time, and it's a reset here down low coming in for HUSS.
I'm really just surprised that they got this off, but you could see how Loader had eyes on him and just wasn't able to get it because of these gates and just let it go. And this is a really big benefit because I don't think they were planning on playing here. I don't think they knew they could play here. Obviously, they tried to go through that door, and Brav, you mentioned the impact it has. And, you know, this is just some of the reasons why I think, you know, Catalyst is such a strong legend. No matter what the meta shifts towards, it's kind of like Watson as well. I mean, you're never going to be going wrong having a Watson, and I think having a Catalyst as well. Here's another big push. AG Global, Loader, you're gone. What became the hunter now is the prey as AG Global take over the spot from Team Vision.
It's a huge spot. Keep in mind, as you mentioned earlier, the only baby comp team here, they will be able to wall right away. The wall does go down, and right now they'll be able to tack max between the castle queue as well as the bubble, and even play these crates to hold a pretty good wide set of space. Now, it goes without saying, you probably already guessed it, they are the only team right now in zone.
Yeah, and they actually, you know, playing this water, which is where it's going to end most likely, they're in a great spot. You know, they're obviously under pressure, and sometimes having a great spot means everybody has attention, has eyes on you. There goes the defensive bombardment. It forces Mr. Rosie to decide, am I committing into this? He's playing a little aggressive here. He might have a chance, Jaguares, to jump up and try to get a push. Yanya firing as well. They get enemy. Mr. Rosie could be the next one to fall. Maggie Ball destroys the bubble. Yanya could go down. Mr. Rosie, they picked you up. Is this the reason why? Big shield battery buying time. AG Global under pressure now, and it feels like Dig going to be moving in, and it's Mr. Rosie who probably just wants to stay as quiet as possible, as HUSS also behind them.
Yeah, right now just playing a knock. Storm will go down, Darkspire will go down as well. That brings us to our top 4 here. It's going to be Forge Wolves, BRAINROTTING, Headglytch, and HUSS.
And there it is, HUSS, 64 points. We know what they've got. We know what they brought to the table. We know how well they've done over these lands. And the last couple of months, this feels like it could be a season for them, their breakout moment. And this young star, Jelly, the Canadian, trying to decide college or a Kraber. He's got the Prowler and the hip-fired sight. It's a hard decision, Bravo.
Give me the Kraber every day of the week. See now, it's going to once again be Forge Wolves playing from the low ground. They're able to pick up another set of kills. That will be BRAINROTTING eliminated. So now just them, HUSS and Headglytch.
And I love this as well. Jelly going to push in on the Axel. We saw this character get nerfed, and maybe for good reason, but Jelly making it work. Duplex looking to clean that up. 2 squads left as Forge Wolves as well, fighting with just scratches and bruises, trying to stay alive. It just feels like HUSS have too much going for them, but maybe Mello can turn the tide. A Caustic in endgame, never anything to underestimate, and he's got the high ground, but he doesn't have any ultimate.
As we said, one of those 3 Caustics somehow making it to endgame. They'll try to play this platform, but look at this work that's coming in. Deeds is going to have to try to scurry away if he can. Duplex, though, healthy and with scans as well.
Deeds, Duplex, HUSS, trying to tell everybody in the world, especially in America, is that they are the team to beat, and they take Game 5 here on Stormpoint.
Once again, it's those 2 teams, by the way, were playing for 2 very different things. HUSS already in first place on the day, or I should say, they were in second place coming into that game, trailing by 1 point, but able to put another convincing result on the board, but even more importantly, it puts them back into first place, and now only 1 game away, and you feel like with where the points table is, only really 1 decent game away from winning the day.
I mean, listen, I said Kraber or college, and it's interesting because you have a young guy who's, you know, he could delay college for 2 years and still be very young and still get it done. But you got $50,000 that came to your name a couple months ago because you placed fourth at EWC. You're leading today, which I think if you ended up staying in the lead would probably put you at the top of North America. I mean, come on, Mom and Dad. This is looking pretty good so far.
I think what we're learning is the Kraber pays for the college. I think that's
right. If I'm Jelly, I'm making like, hey, how else am I going to, you know, what else do you want me doing over the summer? You know, I'm not going to work at a summer camp. You know, this is a great way. I wish I was making 50K when I was about 18 or something like that. I know many of you in the chat realize it. Many of you not in the chat going, man, that is amazing. And this is really a team, I feel like, that's just finding their rhythm, man. And 76 points, Team Vision, DINOS, we talked about them, Unreal Nightmares, they're exactly where they are. I think the only thing, Rob, looking at this, you know, leaderboard now is the fact that what a discrepancy between our top 3 and the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, and also what a different day it has been for a few of these teams as we take a look at the series results so far. CRT, a team that was tied for 5th, coming in there in 12th. GK, a team that was in 3rd, is now in 13th. And we've already talked enough about Shopify. Full 11's another team that once again is within your top 5, but now find themselves on the right side of this table, which is not where you want to be. A few of those teams need to put something together for Game 6.
The weird thing about it, though, Geekay Esports, you know, they had a decent position in that game. 1 went away, and they would have found themselves probably in maybe 4th position. So, obviously, Game 6 is going to do a lot, but for those of you who want to know how to get there, maybe you want to be a part of this, well, the Challenger Circuit, it's coming up. Don't miss your chance to compete in the ALGS's Open Circuit. It returns next weekend. You can sign up with your team on battlefly.com/ALGS. Remember, this is where stories are made. This is where new heroes of our scene are born, and if you want to be a part of it, this is the way to do it. So go ahead, sign up for that Challenger Circuit. All right, Brav and I are going to take a bit of a break. Brav will be back with Vicky here to close us out for game number 6 on Stormpoint. Don't go anywhere as we bring our match day number 4 to an end in a moment. Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
with luck. I call it skill. All right, here I go. Woo-hoo! Yeah, good try. Maybe try harder next time.
And HUSS, they end up doing it, Bravo. They lead the way with a pretty large gap, leaving only one game to go to secure themselves in that first place spot, and the only team to win 2 games today alone.
Yeah, and not only that, let's not forget, they also had some impressive performances when we think of everything they did on World's Edge as well, in terms of how many points they were able to get on the board in those top 3s, and that sets us up, Vicky, here for match number 6, and given that we just saw the Maggie ban, you and I were talking, this should be a normal-ish baby comp game.
Should be is the highlight as we take a look at the side-by-side for match day for between Deej and Jelly. 18 versus 16, but the damage output from Jelly has been out there, as well as the assists too, to help secure the KP that they need.
Absolutely huge. By the way, this team 43 kills on the day. I believe the next closest is Vision at 30, so it is a huge, here we go, 43 points on the board, kills on the board, 33 placement points, puts them at 76, and it's kind of like I was talking about. I like how HUSS is really, once again, today they skew a tiny bit kill points wise, but they really are a balanced team, and it's no surprise that they are comfortably in first place here.
Yeah, honestly, seeing the way that HUSS was playing, I'm not gonna lie, there's been so many things that would have punished them that otherwise worked out for HUSS, whether it be their slow rotates, them playing from the outskirts of ring, to then going in for a late rotate to catch a team off guard like we saw previously in one of our earlier games on Stormpoint. But this is a really good way to see how they've been set up, because Team Vision are trailing from behind, but with a pretty large gap at that, as we go into our final game of the day in Americas.
And I tell you what, it looks like it's going to be normal-ish once again. I think 8 total baby comp teams, which if you don't love baby comp, it kind of still creates an interesting lobby, because of course you've got 12 teams not running that exact configuration. We should also mention on Bloodhound Check, only won this game. And you feel like in the Americas, while we've seen a few earlier in the series, it hasn't been as big of a factor as it was, for example, in that CRT game. But we're starting things off with HUSS here at Echo.
We talk about the traditional baby comp. It is looking pretty normal, actually. We got 17 Gibbies in the lobby, as you can expect, and as you've already mentioned, Bravo, with Nomad Maggie, it just opens the door for Gibby 6 for Game 6. And Newcastle falling up right behind to follow that traditional baby comp, as well as Valkyrie, but only 8 Valkyries in this lobby, whereas there is 6 Pathfinders.
Exactly, yeah. I think we were talking during scrims this week, but we'll check in on that in just a second. Let's see what HUSS is up to and listening.
Extended light mag here.
I need a heavy mag.
Can we step? Where are we playing at on this?
Middle. So can you go middle now, dude?
Right, but now only we should just like rotate, but
Yeah, we're not rotating.
I'm hearing evac popping.
Head at UAV, John.
right now.
UAV.
Okay.
Yeah, head it down.
But evac in here, evac in here.
We should cruise over there.
Yeah, I'll hit it, but watch out.
It's not here. It's pylon. It's a pylon. It's a launch pad dev. Let's go over here and do their spiders.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we could get a guts, but I think we're gonna be too late, in my opinion.
No, I don't want to go. We don't even have beacon, bro. I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. I don't think we do it either.
I need Nemesis. Actually.
I'm running triple take.
We're leaving really fucking slow. We might just walk in that team share. Coming coastal.
It's fine.
Fuse teams, we gotta run.
I think we'll be fine. Yes. Fuse teams, we gotta run.
I love the comms because, yeah, Jeep is right. The fact that, you know, they would go in for a late rotate with white Evos is just not worth it. You have 2 ult accelerators here for the Valkyrie ult, but if you find yourself in that X zone with so many teams already finding themselves in devastated coast, you may just be a little too late. With a majority of these teams being by Launchpad side, HUSS opt to just back away since they already scanned the survey beacon to go to coastal camp instead to get that information. Now, Team Liquid. Team has been a little quiet, and I said quiet, but they are in top 7 right now with 31 points. But with the point spuds that we saw from HUSS, we know what this team could do themselves. They find themselves in the exact building that I was wondering if HUSS was thinking about, and they are safely in there as well with the information that they got to rotate.
Yeah, like you said, Liquid going to be very comfortable at UAV build, and I think the first cue that HUSS said was they called out that evac. That was actually Unreal Nightmare's pylon evac to go right across. So that was kind of their first signal that something is afoot here, and most teams, as you said, right now, the teams that have gotten there, Vicky, you were kind of saying we could be headed back to Dev Coast. Most teams right now are certainly agreeing with you. Let's go ahead and hear from Jay on what Vision's up to.
Hey guys, listen, Vision, obviously, they've been challenging for the series win with HUSS, but obviously last game they died a bit earlier and HUSS ended able to take the win. And so after the game, there was a brief moment where it felt like there was about to be an argument, but I want to shout out their coach, Eros, because he recognized what was happening in the moment. He acknowledged everybody's feelings. He said, listen, it's okay to be passionate. And we're going to go back and we're going to watch that game after this set is over. We're going to all learn from it and we're going to be better from it. But right now, we got to focus on what's ahead of us. We got to make sure we keep the vibes, and we are still in this lobby. We are still able to win this series. So I just want to shout out their coach because I feel like coaches don't get enough love in Apex.
Thank you so much, Jayuk, and I 100% agree. Sometimes you need a mediator coming in to the team so that way everyone is on the same page here, and looks like Buckle Boys were not on the same page because they get eliminated, and so does Storm. Our 2 teams out first here in this final game lobby.
Yeah, right in the center of Launchpad as well, and unsurprisingly trying to play the red rooms of Launch, and a very, very popular spot when you see a pull like this, and unlike EMEA, people were not kind of respecting space. Instead, it was already 2 teams falling at launch. But still, the larger question remains here, Vicky. It's going to be which teams are setting kind of the bets on launch. Right now, it continues to look like they are expecting a hard pull over to kind of Dev Hilltop right around the cannon.
Are continuously here, just looking to clear some of that space here. Currently, Carter is top 3 in our heavy hitters of players for the day. He's got 13 KP to his name alone, right behind Jelly, who's at 16, and Deeds, as we saw earlier in the side-by-side graphic, at 18 from HUSS. Dude being a great anchor for this team, sending out the squad as DINOS too, also looking to make their rotate. One of the teams not with the traditional baby comp, with the Pathfinder, Fuse, and the Gibby.
Yeah, as we said, a lot of variety here, and whereas Split 1, when Baby Comp was the option, you just often saw 13 or 14, and due to just, like you say, adjustments, of course, to not only the meta, but also just talking about where Fuse currently sits in. Not surprised to see a few more of those, and now it's just going to be DINOS kind of slowly playing their way in here from Spiders.
That question just a little bit while they're isolated. Calm before the storm, and I say isolated. Free Thinkers were also poking at them from a distance, as well as Headglytch in Launchpad, and it makes you wonder if you have teams that settled in Launchpad very early on as a POI bank on how that ring pool was going to look like. You're seeing everybody opting to now start prioritizing their rotate into Devastated Coast, and you have yourself thinking maybe we should start rotating here too before more teams start getting into that final zone, because teams like Darkspire are going to be taking their time coming out of wall. We already know how HUSS's gameplay is as they're trying to send it onto Team Vision very far outside of the edge of zone.
Yeah, HUSS is, we'll check in on that in a second because they are up to some shenanigans in zone. We'll talk about that in a moment, but Sesame all right now is mirroring on your screen full 11, going to try to make this push happen in Jurassic.
How can we play this with the side-by-side too? As you could currently see, full 11 inside of that building, but it was the fight for the information. While this is isolated for now, and we talked about like what was happening on the outskirts between Vision and HUSS, they don't engage. Vision now are flying by, and they will eventually run into full 11, who's trying to get out of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, full 11 is a team that absolutely, like we said, they need a big performance today. They potentially might run into Vision just kind of on that northeastern side of Barrow. And when you talk about full 11, they absolutely can't afford to have an early exit. To be in 5th place is an amazing accomplishment for this team, and they can't let this match day just escape them by. Keep in mind, right now in 18th in the lobby.
Tough looks here. Full 11 now just trying to be fully reset. Instead, they actually backtrack. They go right back over to possibly the choke that would lead into Echo HQ before getting that survey beacon and ring console to their south side. But they noted already that Sesame Oil were trying to mirror them, as you already mentioned, too, over by Jurassic. So possibly going in for that same rotation. And here comes a very different look, by the way, Bravo. If you compare the similar end zone that we saw over in EMEA now to Americas, look at how many teams prioritize Devastated Coast versus the former that we first saw when it came to a lot of these rotates and finding yourself in zone priority.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, look at this pulls, as you say, even further east. The fact that you even have some of the like nuanced zones that are going towards Prowlers are actually still all playable within that. So there might even be more surprises yet to come on exactly where this is pulling.
Because DINOS are going to be banking on going in for that southern rotate through the southern trip that leads into Devastated Coast. We've seen a lot of teams, even Team Vision does stuff like that here too, as they're not going to have that same look considering they're coming in from the far east side, but Sesame Oil is still looking down at full 11, who did get that ring console and survey beacon. But while this fight is going on, it's a doorbell ringing at the footstep of Sesame Oil and full 11's third-party invitation for Team Vision to show their face.
Yeah, Team Vision going to be wrapping, as you say, and we're also going to take a look. Finally, full 11 still making their way. It's going to be through Echo, but let's not forget, even though that looks like a peaceful and easy road for now, we all know what it's like when you're on that height just after Echo, looking over at Dev Coast, trying to cross towards either bridge or any builds there is going to be so difficult. So they're safe for now, but they, and to be honest, Vision will have quite a road. You wonder on the Vision side if they might try to mirror Sesame Oil at Pylon, because that's a little bit more forgiving, but we'll also take a look here at AG Global, as we mentioned, on the baby comp. Right now in 9th, they are sat, if I'm not mistaken, in the split, actually in 2nd place, so they want to make sure Game 6 is a big one.
And that's why they're looking to try to get aggressive. They're going really far outside of the zone to try to chase down some of these teams, waiting for them to start making their rotate over to the south side of the map towards Launchpad here. And AG Global are by that choke by the spiders, where Team Darkspire are now going down the hill from the zipline to get that survey beacon. They're not even going to look at AG Global, because AG Global know that there could be 2 teams that come from their backside. So they want to not only clear that choke, but make sure that they're safely able to rotate into the northern side of zone, where Crazy Thieves will be able to take some shots at them from that survey beacon building. But Jurassic has not slowed down despite this zone closing in, because HUSS, who have now rotated outside of Echo HQ at their POI, all the way over to the western side of the map, are now going in through Jurassic, where there is a survey beacon trailing right behind BRAINROTTING.
Yeah, but luckily they have just managed to kind of encourage BRAINROTTING to actually take the choke over to kind of the greens and whites and make their way instead through Waterfall. But HUSS, by the way, what Vicky and I were freaking out about earlier was they actually decided to yeet themselves to mill to go ahead and reset and come all the way back in. But they have made, by the way, they're not over yet. Look at this BRAINROTTING coming back around the corner here on the wall.
Ooh, because they heard it, they also were able to see that if they were able to scan that beacon. Indeed, it's incredibly low here, having to back away out of the fight for now. HUSS getting gate kept, but on the plus side too, this is just round 2 closing. It's not going to pepper in as hard as you would think here, and with BRAINROTTING trying to hold them so deep in the zone, Crazy Thieves are just going to either gatekeep them, or depending on how AG Global take their rotate, even gatekeep that squad here. But they could probably wrap up from the Prowler side as he takes some shots from the player that's taken to the skies.
Yeah, BRAINROTTING doubles back. They look like they're going to challenge, but in the end, BRAINROTTING decides to just kind of safely yeet themselves out as well. They're going to land on cannon, but it's CRT looking over them.
Yeah, that's what I was so worried about here. Now Rosie losing out on their shield. Looking to see if they can reset. No Valkyrie. Sure, they got an evac, but good luck calling that one in with Crazy Thieves looking right down below you. HUSS actually get the green light to maybe call their shots to see if they can move up, but let's jump into a listen-in with Team Vision as they take this fight versus full 11.
Can we regroup? Can we regroup and then go for the Valkyrie?
Can we Valkyrie on ladder? Ready? Yeah. Valkyrie?
No Newcastle attack. Oh, this shit.
Go for it. Get off me, get off me, get off me.
Cannon is free! Cannon is free! Cannon is free! Cannon! Cannon!
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
More left, more left, more left, more left, more left! You're gonna have to pull me, you're gonna have to pull me! I'm gonna get domed down, you're getting domed down!
Whoa! Where do I walk? I'm just walling.
Get a wall down, bro!
Yeah,
oh my god, oh my god. Fuse!
I'm gonna drag you if you die.
Oh!
Dragging? You able to again? Stay from fire on me, stay from fire on me. You attack? Attacking, yeah.
You're gonna have to res water when he dies!
I'm good. I'm bully street. You
gotta pull me, Dom is back up!
Yep, Rosa, pulling.
No, honest! Water, you're thirsting me!
We're getting long from behind. Get some attack, bro, chill. Heal. Do you have ultras for Buckle? We gotta give ult to the...
I give you ult.
No. They got off of us. We're good. They got off of us. Yep, tack's going.
You need to go to the rock. Go to the rock, guys. Like right here. You got LOS God height.
Yep. We're good. LOSs are insane on me. LOSs are insane on me.
You have another wall.
I'm not even on the team and I'm clenching hearing these comms. There's so much panic the way that they were relayed. I mean, Zach even knew like he was cooked. Like everybody started looking at them. The Grim Griefer, Fusey himself, making sure the Motherload was seen and heard as well as felt. But they had the bubble. They had the Gibby ult too with the bombardment and they were able to hold their own and reset on top of the gravity cannon. So happy we were able to listen to those comms. Well, HUSS, by the way, is still alive. 16 squads left as this round 3 is closing in. W Press waking up maybe a little too late, but better late than never, as I always say, as now it's going to be a struggle for them to try to get out of here because BRAINROTTING are trying to dive onto W Press.
Yeah, RJ going to be the kill leader there. I think we were surprised that, just as surprised as Zach, that Cannon was open there. And like you said, they were able to tack cycle as well as wall to make sure that they can still hold Cannon, by the way. And I think it's the zone that you and I were fearing, that maybe the whole lobby was fearing. This is actually pulling way off of Dev, way towards the coast, right towards Prowlers, and that's exactly where Geekay is, but they are in trouble.
That read was insane. Geekay though floating, just trying to clutch, but he gets knocked next. It's only up to drop before he gets dropped. Geekay get eliminated, not having the day back-to-back of finding that success. They're out of this lobby, and CRT, with Koi finding Yanya, leave All Gamers Global in some trouble here. Crazy Thieves fully up, alive, and healthy.
Oh boy, look, Jen's gonna also pop up. As you say, AG Global will go down, even though they try to live through that. They try to bubble, they will get taken down in the end, so that'll be an early exit for AG as well. And on the side of GK, we should mention, a team that came in on third, they're now gonna have their work cut out of them as they will see themselves drop in the standings without a doubt. Let's check back in with Team Liquid, who's still right around, of course, DevCo's UAV building. They have not had to travel far whatsoever.
Nope, and seeing how they've been holding on to this building for such a long time now, they prioritize getting this early rotate. We saw from the very beginning, they swing out though. Team Liquid look to take this fight, but no one looks to the right of sight after he swung. I'm wondering how the communication sounded like here. Zero follows up, he tries to capitalize, and they fully together now with Zero getting knocked. Panic, the last one alive. He didn't fully swing, so I can only imagine the miscoms that came out because they absolutely could have capitalized off of that knock.
And there are still two teams, by the way, that Panic is going to have to fight through still at that UAV building. It's going to be Sentinels as well as Full 11. HUSS now trying to find their new spot as well. They're trying to tuck in just along the rock, but Forge Wolves is right across from them, and DINOS is just to their north as well.
HUSS is just always teleporting every time we tune into where HUSS is. They're on complete opposite sides of the map from the previous time we see them on our screens. On the now northern side of where this next zone pool is, it's gonna be Motherload galore. You're gonna hear the bombardments. Full 11 get eliminated. Crazy Thieves also are in trouble, get eliminated next year. So we have some of our final squads now trying to make this rotate, but this is the bloodbath that you could expect from the teams that have to exit out of Launchpad. W Press find themselves on the edge of zone. Free Thinkers fighting for their lives, as well as ShopifyRebellion looking at DINOS with Team Vision. They call out this gravity cannon, and they've held it down for now, but they have to make sure nobody walks up on them, as W Press were looking to swing on the right side of the rock.
In the feed, we see Panic go down as well, so that will be Liquid exiting outside of your top 10 yet again. Unreal Nightmare will fall into our top 10, and Forge Wolves is the only team that is around zone. We got to talk about it. This is a very rare pull. There's only a few end games out here, but Forge Wolves is ready for it.
There's 3 bubbles. It's going to be a bubble party here. Team Vision now looking down just to wait for this Gimme bubble to go down eventually. Sentinels being on the low ground is no can do. Zach tries to take some shots. He gets pressured by another team from right behind him, but he sends out the nades so that way they can clean up the KP that they need to close this gap between themselves in first place. But with HUSS still alive in this lobby, it's looking grim here. They got 63 points as Carter's is trying to survive.
Yeah, it's Vision and Sentinels right next to one another, but Headglytch is just outside of this battle as Free Thinkers will go down, and Headglytch waiting to see which of these two will be the aggressor. Sentinels will go down. That buys some space here for the moment for Vision.
And they're looking down at Headglytch, who's still playing off that low ground. While Forge Wolf, the team that called out this zone pool, have been on the southern side of the zone, controlling the water and controlling the rocks on the bottom right side of the zone pool for so long. And they're one of the teams with the rampart walls, too. So it's going to be difficult to try to press them here. W Press being the only other one, too, I believe, as DINOS now are just not letting W Press get through to the right side. It's going to be difficult for them because it's going to be an isolated fight. So it's just a matter of time. But the zipline allows them to close in the gap for now and jump J Future.
Yeah, look, DINOS has to go ahead and wrap around this. J Future is actually the first one to fall in the end, but those kills will be traded out.
Oh my god, it was those free pickings for DJ. Just a swing in here. The last one alive as Cloak try to play for their life. AG misses some of those shots with the Prowler. The reset comes in as Chaos is going to be able to get the res onto J Future, but they do not want to let this KP get away from them.
It's going to be all about which teams can bubble forward. Also, keep in mind, we could see a few Valkylds still at this stage and just perfect kind of bubbling down as well as just tack-maxing your way through this endgame. Newcastle Wall is going to be very important as well.
Now trying to get the rise and trying to play for their lives. Deeds does manage to pull it off. They get the bubble on top of it all, and they're looking to be able to pull off this shield bat. And with 6 squads left, everyone is just staring at each other. DINOS on the north side of Forge Wolf, but with Brainrotting trying to take this fight, that could be the green light for DINOS to try to move up. But HUSS actually have something else to say, while Vision are looking at both of these teams fight from the low ground.
By the way, only a 12-point gap between HUSS and Vision. They are both in this end game here. Everything to play for in this game number 6.
This is so intense here, too, with the final round closing in the next 55 seconds. You see the trade-offs here. You see the player coming in from the skies. HUSS now swinging while White Jelly's popping this shield bat. Dupe with some great comms. Deeds peppering in the pressure. They see the giving bubble from right in front of them, but it's the stand-up before Team Vision wrap up eventually behind HUSS.
Oh, look at this now. They're going to have to be careful. Deeds is going to be your last player alive. He tries to fight through this, but it's not going to be easy. HUSS will go down now into our 4 final squads here.
4 final squads with DINOS getting eliminated. Team Vision, Forge Wolf, Headglytch, and the solo from Brainrotting, trying to keep the dream alive on the Valkyrie. It's going to be hard here for them to make things work now with the way that Forge Wolves are looking down at Headglytch. This could be the Team Vision win that they so desperately wanted after they lost against Unreal Nightmare.
Yeah, that's right. They need to get a lot of these kills, but the math is possible. Headglytch absolutely sending on Forge Wolves.
And it's a green light for Team Vision. It's 2020 Vision for them. They're dancing around the shield, and now only a solo left in this lobby. This is all for Team Vision to be your last game winners of the day here in Americas. After Forge Wolf get evicted, the last solo to get taken out, Team Vision, they end the day with a dub.
Unbelievable. The points math. You might have done it right on the bottom left. Team Vision, they needed that 3v3 win in a very, very big way. And it almost looked impossible. Vision was trailing by 12 behind HUSS. And I will let the scoreboard do the talking, Vicky, when we see it, but it's Vision just absolutely unbelievable. Actually, I'm not going to wait for the scoreboard. I think anyone who was watching that could have done the math. Vision, they win the day on the final 3v3.
That was insane call-outs from Zach Baser. You know, we just heard Jayhawk come in, say that he was listening to the Team Vision comms. The mediator, the coach, talking to everybody, you know, all your concerns are heard. You guys are all valid and feeling the way that you do. You just go next right now and you play your hearts out. The comms in those listen-ins paid off. Team Vision winning the final. It's a Team Vision sandwich. I mean, they open the day with a dub. They end the day with a dub. Just looking at the way that Max 6 results played out and looking at the bottom end of the teams that had a lot slower of a game that they did not need to get.
It's unbelievable to bring back Rain and Jay. Guys, I was doing the math, and to be honest, it was a long shot, and needing 12 points when there's 4 teams left. And as you saw, unbelievable composure there from Team Vision in the end. Wow.
Yeah, it's almost exact math. I mean, I'm sure very excited about that. Zach Mazer and squad. Well, if you signed them for lifetimes, you might need to go into the second lifetime here as well. You might need to start getting spiritual with this signing, and maybe we haven't drawn up enough contracts to cover that. But Team Vision certainly has the vision here. 2 points, Jayhawk, and I know you're listening in to their reactions.
Guys, I mean, just what a masterclass game from all three of those players. There was a moment where Carter, he was identifying KP, which first off, right as they loaded in the game, he said, if we want to pass us, we probably have to have a 10 KP game. They get 11 and they do it. So what a call out from him, but he's being aggressive. There was a moment where they were thinking about Valk ulting, and instead Lauder calls off Zach and says, we have a playable spot. That spot allows them to third HUSS in the end game. And then Zach, I mean, you guys heard him in that one listen when they were flying in. He can take over when he needs to. What a game. That was exhilarating to watch.
Yeah, Gibby Bubble, and of course the Newcastle. We talked about Baby Comp. Rob, you guys were watching it as well. You kind of mentioned it and alluded that this would be coming back. It was perfect for Vision, who feel very comfortable in this exact position. But, I mean, Zach going down here, still somehow managing to turn this around. I mean, what a moment.
What a reset. It was, I mean, the perfectly timed listening, as you say, and Zach is just screaming the cannon's free, and none of them can believe the cannon's free. I could not believe the cannon was free. And like you say, they landed. I love that even the micro Zach's like left. He's trying to adjust, trying to adjust the plane in the sky. As they come down, it was just perfect cycling once again of the Newcastle Q, the bubble, and the wall. And they had to do everything right in the end game. Like Vicky said, they knew they had to fly in at that exact moment, and not just win the final 3v3, they needed the prior kills as well to win the day by 2. And look at the Pro League standings now as well.
Yeah, Vision on top. 3 series played, and they are in the lead in America's HUSS. We'll have to look up, as well as BRAINROTTING, who came in as the victors so far heading into it. AG and FWG rounding out our top 5. Vicky, but Vision, they find their place on top, and it is well deserved.
Hey, I've seen this before here. Zach Mazer claiming his space with alongside Carter and Loader, but this is a great performance from Vision. Just to be able to notice that after what you guys have said, I just have to echo. That is just such amazing call-outs. I could only imagine how they feel. It's like one of those games, you know, when you're really about to clutch it out, you know what's at stake, and then you finish winning a game of Apex, and your hands are shaking. Like Team Vision probably feel on top of the world after that.
100%. Let's take a look at our Sony in-zone kill leaderboard, see if it adds more to the narrative as well, because, I mean, there were some great performances. I want to know individually how well they did. Well, Carter, he finds himself in that top 3. Zach also in the top 5. I mean, what a performance. Talk about Zach's IGLing, but the fact that he was able to get 15 kills, I mean, it just shows how much he's contributing on all different levels. The Prowler takes the cake, but Deeds and then, of course, DJ Killa find themselves as our Sony in-zone kill leader top 2. Jayhawk, this was a really good performance from DJ Killa. Made himself, you know, very, very effective across the day. Didn't get the win, but ultimately a very good individual performance.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about DINOS last split, I came on as a guest, and we were talking about kind of, they had a really high ceiling, but a really low floor, and I'm starting to wonder, has that been fixed? Because at least as of right now, DINOS starting to show some pretty good consistency their last 2 days, placing inside the top 5 both times.
21 points for them coming into this. I'm not exactly sure if they are or where they are in the top 5 in this. I'll have to see our final leaderboard again, but they're going to get somewhere between 16 and most likely 20 points, and that's going to put them into a great spot heading into the next couple of match days. But bravo, I mean, DJ Killa and DINOS, again, we talked about them, Jay Future as well, you know, young man, and really just, I think, excellent, showed a lot of promise at LAN. This team just building off some really good building blocks here.
I think they are, and let's not forget, DINOS was kind of a team that, as we talked about scrim lobbies in Split 1, that was kind of written off as, you know, a violent team, to put it in an appropriate way, in scrims that was just kind of getting cursed out by top teams. But even though they've had a slower start this split, I think they're kind of just reminding everyone that they're part of the conversation. I mean, to come in today with a lot of respectable performances, like you just saw the kill leader as well, also to have 3rd in their 2nd match day, just reminding everyone that they're certainly part of this race. And keep in mind, even with extra NA spots, America's spots, excuse me, up for grabs, I think they're a team that we're going to continue talking about through the split without a doubt.
Yeah, it was a really good performance. I mean, and I like the way that he did it as well. It was a 7-kill game, a 5-kill game, both on Pathfinder. He had some kills on Altar. Really nice shout out as well. I think individually we have to start paying attention a little bit more to him as Dinos continue to try to make themselves relevant here in the conversation in the Americas. Certainly did a good job in these last couple of match days as well. Vicky, you know, Jayhawk and I are going to get into an interview soon, but just kind of reeling, kind of relaxing. Have you settled down after that Vision win? Have we been able to really look at what's happening here? Because we're about to talk to Zach, but what a kind of, I'm sure, emotional high that was watching that happen.
It is. It's always nice to be able to sit down and watch some good Apex play out, Rain Day. But you know what? Another highlight that we have to point out is that the first place team for a lot of our matches, the number just keeps going up and up. Like this is the highest we've seen a team win with 81 points comparatively to our last 3 match days. So that means there's only even better Apex as this split continues.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. It was pretty high in EMEA as well. Let's have a conversation with the main man himself, Mr. Zach Mazer from Team Vision, I believe, joining us here. Big Zach, what's up, man? How you doing? Congratulations on a last minute finish.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was a lot. Riding high right now, that's for sure.
Is that how you pay for the Dyson in the back right there?
I mean, dude, we still got some Pro League days left, but hopefully if we keep this up, that could pay for another Dyson, sure.
You're balling, man. You're clearly balling. I mean, honestly, obviously a breath of relief. I'll let Jayhawk ask you a couple questions too, but we've been talking about this team and the fact that, you guys have just from the moment you've gone together, something's clicked, something's worked. I feel like this comp that you played this final game with, very comfortable for you guys, but it feels like in general, everything's comfortable. Can you enlighten us on kind of what you're feeling going through this process with these young guys who obviously have a lot of passion, a lot of talent, but also are mixing really well with your IGL style?
Yeah, I mean, I ask a lot of them, and that was a very loaded question. It kind of covers everything. So give me a second here. I ask a lot of them. I nitpick them to holy hell, and it's a very good environment for me. It's very, not toxic. It's very healthy. We have a very good dynamic. And because we have this ideology and understanding that we're all on the same team and we're all just trying to win, we can have these really difficult conversations and nitpick these small things in all of these different comps that you're referring to and, isolate them into the most perfect way you could possibly play it, right? And our goal isn't to be on the same page, this isn't that. Our goal is to literally play a perfect game, front to back, perfect game, not wasting time, the small things, all of those things add up and matter. All those 1%ers turn into 20 if you do them right. And, with how much time we've gotten to work together, we've had so many healthy conversations that we've just ended up in this spot where our gameplay is extremely consistent, probably the most consistent in the whole world right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Zach, I got a question about each of your teammates. Let's start with your coach, Eros. I feel like, I got to peek into y'all's comms right as you were loading to that last game. Obviously, the previous game did not go your way. HUSS takes the win, and so now you're starting to think, is this even possible? And it seemed like there was some nitpicking, like you're saying, going on about that previous game. But Eros was saying, listen, guys, we're still in this. It's okay to be passionate. We'll watch that after the game. Let's all focus on this next task, being this next game. How does that, when you said there's no toxic environment, how does he bring that level up within you guys on those match days when he's able to kind of bring that passion out, make sure you're all focused on the right things?
The conversation that happened after game 5, I would say is very rare on my team. I would honestly tell you that's probably the first time that's ever happened on an official game day or a LAN day or anything official. That is very rare. But yes, in the instance that happens in a scrim, or it did happen today after game 5, Eros is everything, He lightens the mood, gets us all back focused. Again, my team environment is unexplainably mature. So we're having that tough conversation and nobody's taking it to heart. Nobody's taking it as a personal insult. So everybody is ready for the next game, but Eros really just closes the door on it. Hey, we'll talk about it later. Let's focus up for this next one and tries to get us in the right headspace. That we're killers or this and that, whatever you choose to say that game.
All right, and then when it comes to Carter, I feel like when you first picked him up, I was very interested in how the dynamic was going to work because he's playing the altars, he's playing the Valks, the Wraiths. He has a big responsibility on his shoulders to take a lot of space, and I feel like you as an IGL giving that up shows the trust that you have in him. How have you seen him kind of grow ever since you first picked him up from now to then? Because it seems like you guys are a well-oiled machine when it comes to him looking for KP or openings.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a uniquely timed question. So I work like very hard on like almost like a triple IGL system of like, I have to trust my teammates because I'm not playing the altar, I'm not playing the path, I'm not playing the race. So I have to trust my teammates and what they see and let them take over the game. And when they're wrong, you know, they hear it from me, but at least they learn, right? So they'll make the right call next time. And that's kind of how that works. So, I mean, it's a uniquely timed question because, you know, not even 48 hours ago, we were having an internal conversation about how I really need, you know, Carter to be my frontliner that's, you know, co-IGLing and helping me see a little bit further. And we need to get our comms a little better because like, while we are still one of the best teams, if not the best team, we can still level up, right? So Carter today was everything of that and more. First thing I said to him was how proud I am of him. When I got this interview, I was messaging him because I have to full mute in Discord that like, if there's anything I'm happy about right now, I'm just proud of Carter. He really stepped up to the plate in a way that my team needed to hit another level. And I think everyone saw that today. We spent 6 out of 6 games in the best spots in the game. And, you know, 2 of them, we died a little early, but we did 6 out of 6 games in the best spot. And that is truly incredible. And I can't accomplish that if my frontliner isn't doing what his job, right? So love the guy.
All right, and the final question. You're talking about this kind of triple IGL system where you got to trust all your teammates. There was that moment in that last game where y'all were calling where you're about to Valk ult, and Lauder calls you off and says, we can slide to this rock. You knew Castle Wall there, you focused the team on the right, but then, I'm assuming you guys didn't realize in the time, but you were then mirroring HUSS and essentially led them to their death, which is a huge reason why you guys were able to end up winning the game day. Talk to me about that sort of dynamic, because it feels like Lauder always has these perfectly timed suggestions that allow you to just go off immediately after that. Yeah, well, I mean, you've seen it on a lot of my teams, and you'll see it on this one and for the rest of its time. And it's I'm thinking like a chess game, like 7 steps ahead sometimes. So my other 2 IGLs, when they're living in the moment, sometimes the best and most, you know, correct play is the most obvious one right in front of you. And, you know, when you're thinking 7 steps ahead, sometimes you trip up and miss it. So it's really awesome that you actually used his wording properly and you said, can we slide to this rock? Because he's not telling me this is what we're doing. He's saying, hey, Zach, you might not notice this, but we can slide to this rock. And then he says it, I think about it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most simple thing ever. We just win now, right? So, you know, we follow through with it. And that's how that system works. And, you know, I'm on 10-minute delay, but that was the first thing that was said after the game is that Lauder won us that game by just telling me, hey, can we do this? Do we want to do this as a team? I identified the threat bottom right, which happened to be HUSS, and, you know, the rest is history. We played the rest of that game perfectly, and I'm so overwhelmed with happiness right now. I wasn't sure how we'd play coming into today. I knew we'd get a top 5, but I was unsure if we'd spend 6 games in God's spot with almost 90 points, and I'm just so proud of my team and every leg of it. It's incredible.
We're proud of you too, Zach. I think it's been great to see your development, and, you know, you've had ups and downs and doubts and successes across the community, and, you know, you've done a great job here with the squad. I will ask that I think part of it is chicken or egg for me, because you guys are having a lot of conversations and you guys are also taking a lot of feedback from each other. But in some ways you're saying that's kind of building your culture, but you have to kind of have something at the beginning that allows that culture to be built. Some guys don't want to listen to other people. Some guys aren't willing to trust, you know, their teammates in the same way that you seem to be willing to. So what is just the final question that you think, because I'd love to hear more in your ideas, what makes it so that you and Loader and Carter can have this dynamic that allows the conversation and the suggestions to be so fluid, to be so successful the way that you guys have been?
Yeah, I'm just going to say sorry. I'm not going to go in depth on this question. I feel like if I give you an honest answer and other teams took my answer very, very, very seriously and applied it and used it like the word of God, they would get a lot better overnight. So I'm going to dance around it. I'll give you an answer that I think trust is very important. I think a healthy communication environment is very important. You know, you hear me nitpicking scrims and after game 5 and stuff like that. And they take it very healthy, and then they'll dish it back at me very healthy, and then I can take it very healthy. And that's kind of as far as I want to go with it. Because again, like if I told you everything and then other teams actually took it like the word of God, which I know these lazy bastards wouldn't, but if they did,
of course,
they would
man,
all get much, much better.
You're giving everybody credit. If I think the information to get a 6-pack is out there, but not many people have one. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the conversation, Zach. Congratulations on the win, man. And we'll see you guys in the next match day.
Appreciate you guys big time. Thank you guys.
All right, Team Vision, Zach Mazer says, I will not reveal my secrets, but also maybe giving some players too much credit because, yeah, it's easier said than done for sure what Zach has put together. Vicky, your response on that interview?
He said that you won't give away his secret, but Snipedown already gave away his secret in the Twitch chat. Apparently, he got the hair buff going on. It's like you got to let it grow, and maybe that's what it is. He's getting more room out there to be able to think those 7 steps ahead. But it's awesome to hear what you guys were asking Zach, because I also feel like Zach is just such a great player to ask all the intricate questions to, and he will find his best way to break it down, even refraining from saying something that he doesn't feel like is fully true to not give that wrong information. And that is what it takes to be a really good IGL, and also being able to call out what helps enable him.
Yeah, Brob, did you feel the same way?
I tell you what, I think Zach is one of the best, if not the best, interviews in professional Apex. I love hearing him talk about teamwork, talking about the game every single time it delivers. And I think just also the humility. Let's not forget, they needed a 9-kill win to win the day, and they end the day with an 11-kill win. So the margins and think about it, of course, that gets you 4 extra entire split points. And the little micro there, like we already talked about, just what was required to close out those games. And I think it requires something special. Like I said, I always love hearing from Zach, and it's even more special when you see them stringing together a set of 6 games like that. It's a really memorable day. I think one that people won't soon forget.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're kind of going around the horn here to close it out, but I'll start our final thoughts with Jayhawk here after the reaction. You were in that interview, but obviously Team Vision, a big day, HUSS as well. Yeah, I mean, I think it was all Zach from start to finish.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to gas up Zach. I feel like because obviously we're interviewing him, we're focusing a lot more on his teammates because he wants to praise them. But you guys could hear it in that listen. In those moments where it just clicks and he takes over, he's calling out exactly how to play. And I think that level of IGLing, especially with this young squad that he has, when he sees those 7 steps ahead, it's just so valuable. And then the little input that he gets from each of them to kind of fill in the gaps, it really just feels like this team's a well-oiled machine. I'm not surprised at all that they're performing this well. When you go back and watch that game, and I encourage everyone to do so from Vision's POV, it is just a wild one, and honestly, it was a treat to get to see.
Yeah, it feels like Zach knows he's onto something, and big credit to him, because I mentioned he's been through ups and downs. He's been through people praising him and doubting him, Vicky. And your closing thoughts here on today, which fantastic day in America, fantastic day in EMEA overall.
It's been great to be alongside you, lovely gent. It's been a good time to also see Zach not only hype up his own team, but being able to see the growth from a lot of these players, especially Zach, as they find that consistency. Even in the interview, he said, I wasn't really worried at the same time because I knew we probably weren't going to get worse than top 5. But being able to secure that win with the majority of points than any other game day winner is always nice to see as we continue on with the consistency.
That's been great hanging out with you as well. Brav! Help us close it out here. Put a button on this one with Vision taking the win.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, just to echo everyone, it's been such a great day of action across both regions. And I think the best thing about this split is it is coming thick and fast. And we're already going to have a full day, not only of games tomorrow, but also Sunday. And I just can't wait to get into more Apex.
I cannot either. And speaking of that, coming up, we do have some more Apex tomorrow. That's right. And Sunday as well. You cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. By the end of this weekend, 2 weeks into our split, we're going to be halfway through the season, and we're going to be heading into some potential roster changes, but hopefully not too many, as match day 5 is another test for EMEA. Now, here's the interesting part. We are starting at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which, if you notice, is an hour hour later than our normal start times. So stay tuned. Maybe get an extra sleep, maybe grab some coffee, hang out with your partner and your kids if you've got them. If not, relax, maybe catch up on something beforehand. Today's action, if you missed it, and join us at 11 a.m. PT for that. EMEA, America's coming back up at you. What a wonderful day. Thank you to community. Thank you to EFG behind the scenes. Thank you to Respawn and EA for making this wonderful game. Thank you to all my lovely talent crew who are part of putting it on. My name's Rain Day, and as always, I'd like to remind you, never give up, never stop gaming. We will see you all for more action tomorrow.